No?
only Sook can play the explosive mode.
Fair enough.
One thing to keep in mind there with Kino as well is that for most of the players, it is their first global tournament.
Yeah.
So it could have been a bit of nerves coming into the first week, going through group stages, media day. Like the first time that these players are experiencing that, they might crumble a little bit. They might be a bit shocked. But I'm intrigued to see what this team is going to be doing in survival stage. Now that the nerves are out of the way, they are going to be feeling that pressure a little bit more, but I'm hoping that it is a much better performance for this team.
Well, we've got the Crunchyroll reactions as well. Let's take a look at all these players getting themselves heated here in the desert for the PUBG Mobile World Cup. And suffice to say here, Max, emotions were really riding high for a lot of these teams who, I mean, some moments here as well for teams like Power, they kind of got themselves a victory coming out of Milta, for example, over on Erangel. It was a slow and steady game for them, but they did get the victory.
Yeah, I mean, a very, very passive game for them, standing also just trying to make it to the later stage of the match. Very good execution. I would love to have a local team qualify, maybe an R8, maybe they can try and make it this time around, maybe a Power also, that would be great. Though, I'm still waiting a reaction here on the Crunchyroll side to come through from top that almost broke a desk last year. I want to see him break it this year.
But in a good way.
In a good way, when he's happy. No.
Yeah.
Yes!
Exactly.
Coming down, yeah, I get it. I can understand why. And thinking about how all these teams kind of played things out as well. There were some surprise wins here and there, Neptura, but at the same time, there was some great control from teams to be able to just have a stable game. Of course, we don't see a lot of those in the survival stage, but even then, we've had some wins from teams here that have been able to, unfortunately, fall down to this position.
Yeah. I want to bring up one in particular was Nongshim.
Yeah.
They had 2 wins in day 2. They had, 16 points day 1, 60 points in day 2. Really coming back into their own. And so for them to come into survival stage, I think we could be looking at a really, really good contender here for the next 2 days.
Well, of course, across our group stage, 8 teams did advance into that final. As you can see, all the way to the top, Alter Ego looked spectacular, 7. Everything that they showed me, I was like, oh yes, I'll have a bit of that.
I mean, when you look at the eliminations, they have 21 more eliminations than that second place team. And the crazy part, too, is if you look at those 2 top teams, those were the only ones with over 100 points, getting a lot of those points. So now going into survival stage, these teams aren't going to have to worry about those heavy fragging teams just soaking up all those points. There's going to be a lot of opportunity, Max.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunities going into that next stage. But I want to highlight 2 teams in particular. Team Secret, big surprise from SEA. Wasn't sure if they were going to qualify. But EDA Esports, able to outclass Regnum Caria, Falcons, and also Fireflux from their home region was a very, very big surprise. Eren in particular was stepping up massively in the group stage. I wonder if they can try and do something similar going into those finals.
Yeah, I was really surprised by Edis, particularly in the second day. We saw some really good controlling zones coming in from them, some really nice setups. I am interested to see what they've got going into this one now, because it's one of those things where you've got the top 8 no longer here. So then you have not lesser teams, but less dominant teams coming in here. Can they use that? Can they take advantage of that and really just dominate the lobby in these 2 days?
And then for the 16 teams that are left here, they still have the potential to also dominate, right? If you look at the likes of Regnum Carrier, if you look at the uncharacteristic performance of an Alpha 7 here, 7, it becomes a case of like, okay, well, if they go into a lobby like this, and it's a lobby that's not moving across 2 days, they can gather momentum and they can find themselves some big wins.
Is it time for me to just rip them apart, or am I holding on to that? Or
who do you want to rip apart?
Alpha 7.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been waiting for this the whole week. With Alpha 7, let me see which one is the one I'm looking at. That one right there. With Alpha 7, outside of the first day, they did absolutely nothing. This team was only able to get I think it was just 1 placement point outside of their wins. And on top of that, their eliminations just weren't quite there. On the day 2, 15 points total. This is from the defending champions, the people that are expecting them to win. This is not a defending champion to me with the way that they're currently performing. I'm hoping that they're going to step it up in a big way. And if we talk about player performances, where's Rebel? Where's Mafioso? Carrillo is the only one right now putting up those points. 17 eliminations, and he's not even in the top 10. He's top 20. What are we doing, Alpha 7? This is not the Alpha 7 that we expected coming into this.
So we just saw them arriving there at the start of the Jamil Motorsports arrival here on location, and I think your rant is founded, right? I mean, Max, looking at how they play things out, they are the defending title holder here at the Esports World Cup for PUBG Mobile World Cup. It's difficult. I mean, we can look at the power rankings. We have placed them, we believe, in a position, clearly, of power, even though, actually, wait a minute, they're not there. Hello. We'd also placed them alongside some of our favorites here in Alpha 7.
If you squint your eyes, it's actually Alpha 7.
Alpha Gaming, Alpha 7, you don't add 7 more and you're pretty much
It should have been illegal to call themselves Alpha Gaming after Alpha 7's so good in this game, but it doesn't matter. At the same time, though, let's talk about some of these other ones, Max, right? You've got Regnum Courier, you've got Falcons there. Obviously, we're expecting big things from them, but there wasn't some deliverables coming in from Falcons in the group stage, that's for sure.
Falcons, every time I saw them, they would just split apart, losing the player left, right, and center, and then you just don't have the manpower to take a proper 4v4 fight anymore. It is just very surprising that we just didn't see anything remotely close to what they did back in PMSL EU, and especially back in PMGO. Again, they got second place. They performed so well at that global stage. So here, we need to see a big change up, because if they do something even remotely close to their group stage, top 8, I think, is just out of the question for them.
And from a conversation that I had with their coach, Peko, earlier today, he was like, I was asking him, what was wrong during that group stage? He just kept saying we weren't playing the way we're used to. What is the main thing that they're going to be changing is the decision making, and I'm hoping that that's actually going to be the case for this team, because as you were mentioning, it seemed like a little bit too all over the place, and he didn't really want to tell me any secrets, fair enough, in regards to the way that they play, but they kind of spilled the beans a little bit. He said that they usually expect a lot of the other teams to be a little bit more scared, and I feel like that might be the case here in this lobby.
We have favorites. We also have contenders and dark horses. Neptura, who jumps out to you when it comes to the survival stage?
Survival stage, I think Power impressed me a lot coming into day number 2. I think their setups in the mid game were really, really nice. Large spreads over on the edge of circle. What's going on here?
The Keymaster.
Key.
Oh. I thought they did so bad that they removed the key.
Yeah. They're like, no.
It
goes back on the wall when you get a win. No.
As Max said, they're not dead yet. Like, it's just
still here.
Look, they're all right. They're all right.
Don't break our key.
I'm like, jeez, were they hearing my rant? I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't that bad.
Revo just takes his key in the crusher. We're done.
There's still a chance.
But there will be crushes at the end of these 2 days, that's for sure here. So, I mean, looking at how everything unfolds, Neptura, I want to get more of your thoughts about this. Obviously, you were talking about Power. Who else kind of really springs out for you here?
EA. I actually liked EA
Arena?
a lot. EA Arena was really, really good. I thought that they were inconsistent over the 2 days, right? But again, we saw a lot of this coming in from a lot of the teams actually in day 2. A lot of those first day jitters were out of the way. They started playing really nicely. Their setups were really good. Some decent eliminations, just not quite enough to get to the top 8. But coming into survival stage, I think we could expect a lot from them.
I was talking to Junior from the Indonesian talent, and he said actually the biggest issue that is still reoccurring outside of PMSL SEA is the timing. They're just a little bit too slow to get involved on fights. If they can fix that one glaring issue, like Mormon in particular is a star in SEA. They could maybe be in the top 8 because you got to be in the top 50%. That is definitely achievable for E Arena.
I think some things that stood out to me when I was watching the group stage 7 is that the edge barriers these teams are setting up are brutal at this international, and then teams coming in late are just trying to crash through and really not finding anything to work with, and they're one of the teams that may have fallen victim to that, alongside the Chinese teams that have already qualified through, so they kind of were able to play the averages overall, but some of the teams have definitely fallen victim to this.
That was a pleasant surprise, by the way. Thunder Talk Gaming being able to make it straight to grand finals. I'm happy to see that. Now, talking about that edge play, talking about those teams having to move into the center a little bit faster, one team that was actually able to adjust, and I'm looking forward to seeing them how they perform today, is AXTMG. They were able to get a win on the final day of group stages, and on top of that, just make adjustments through their overall gameplay.
Well, of course, here. Any final thoughts before we move on, Max?
I'm actually impressed to see Yangon Galacticos do so well at the first stage. I want to see a little bit more of how aggressive they were. So I think they could be a big surprise team to make in the top 8.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Well, of course, we'll get more time to talk before the games actually do play out here for everything to go down. But it is the survival stage. You only have 12 games to make it through. Join that finals and get yourself a place in what potentially could be a history-making run if you're able to get through the survival stage and all the way there. Let's head on.
16 teams step into the Gadia Esports arena with one goal in mind: survive. 3 days of competition slipped through their fingers last week, and now they are staring down the barrel. And so, my name is Barney Banks, and I am your host. And welcome to the PMWC at the 2025 Esports World Cup. The next 2 days of competition are going to truly show our team's capabilities and where they stand, because they're going to be fighting for survival. So, why don't you say we meet them, starting things off with intense game. Nongshim Red Force. Gamax Esports. Yangon Galacticos. Hora Esports. Power Esports. Regnum Carrier Esports. R8 Esports. Fire Flux Esports. Team Vision. Influence Rage. E Arena. Kinotrope Gaming. AXTMG. Team Falcons. Alpha 7 Esports. There's a different kind of tension in the air today. Is it the realization that the next 2 days could be their last? Survival can be summed up in 3 words: never give up. Let's see which of these teams live up to that statement. It is time for the survival stage!
That's right, Banks. It's all or nothing for these teams now. There are no second chances across these next 12 games, and we have some titans of PUBG Mobile here who are staring down the barrel. Will they be able to overcome the challenges that they will face here in the survival stage? Again, joining me at the desk here to talk about it all, we have, of course, Nepturo, we have Maxman, and we have Seven to talk about it. As Alpha 7, our current defending champions, our defending title holders here, are currently facing potential elimination. Let's see if they can make it out. I think they may. But let's talk about some of the other teams that we want to talk about here. Nepturo, of course, as another huge titan of PUBG Mobile. Regnum Carrier currently also finds themselves down here as well.
And no one expected that to happen. I mean,
No.
Regnum, they've been the most talked about team, I think, even above A7, really. I feel like they have gotten the most conversation about them coming into this event, and here they are in survival stage. I will say in their defense, though, that they actually had a really good group stage. 42 points day 1, 39 points day 2. That's very, very consistent. It's just that with a 2-point difference from 8th place, somebody's got to be in that 9th place. Unfortunately, it was them. But for me, they didn't play all that badly, to me.
I would agree. I think it was just still a really good attempt, but it's nowhere near what we saw back in PMGO, right?
That
they are not up to that level just yet. But no, they're getting back into it. I saw that right now that I think Tospic was bouldering, and you had Silas just chilling next to the pool. They're having a good time. They're feeling comfy here in Riyadh, but they're going to try and make it in the top 8.
Final thoughts here before we get to it, 7?
It's going to be Team Falcons. I want to see how they're going to be performing. And talking in regards to players, Narvalo's one team that I actually want to see him step it up a little bit more. If I'm not mistaken, I think he ended up with 0 eliminations for all of group stage, which is insane.
That's a disaster. That is a disaster. And I mean, they were only 37 points across the group stage. Thank you very much, guys. I'm getting word that we are ready to head into the game here. It's an understood situation why Alpha 7 and Falcons are being focused on here. 2 massive names who are now here in the survival stage. Let's head over to the casters for game number 1 here.
Thank you very much, James. We are locked in, dialed into position, and excited to kick off the survival stage here live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Myself, Jackie, and of course the magnificent Blank, who are going to be bringing you the action live as it comes to us. Some good talking points set up by the desk, as always, very Maxim-esque.
Very Maxim-esque indeed. And look, it's going to take more than a huddle to save the Falcons.
Oh yeah.
Let's put it that way. I respect the boys are getting hyped. There, but it's not enough to get loud. You've got to get a little bit freaky in those games too.
Yeah,
as Revo was saying earlier, right? You've got to change stuff up.
Bro, that's the thing. I think the pageantry only goes so far, right? You've got to come out today, absolutely play some lights out PUBG Mobile. It's not going to help too.
None of the dramatics.
That's what I mean. Like,
no dramatics.
He's behind you. None of that, Blank. It's all about who's in front of them when it comes to being able to rack up these points and show us what they're made of. Survival stage is dubbed that for a reason. It's about survivability. And for a team like those two, for Falcons and Alpha 7, it's an interesting X that's on top of them, but so many other talented squads that are going to be looking to scrap it out and make their way through.
Another 8 teams to go through to the finals here in our survival stage. Taking place for the course of 3 days here. Our rotating lobby either, so we're going to have the same 16 teams every single time, which is going to make things slightly easier when it comes to those drop spots, figuring out where you need to go, where you need to head. If you've got one rivaling team that's going to be taking it to you every single time, what it looks like right now, AX dropping on top of one team. And I'm assuming that's Nongshim Red Force.
Right back to day 1's flavor there, Blank. A callback, really, a hot drop that I believe they came out on top with cleanly. I'm pretty sure they shut down Nongshim Red Force very handedly on that one. And that actually set them up for one of the better days we've seen from them.
Probably one of the better games.
Better being the operative one, you know, not amazing, but better.
Yeah, their day 1 was all right. And I think that they struggled on day 3. They struggled on day 3 a lot. But it will be R8 losing one player early on. That's between them and Yangon Galacticos over towards Paradise Resort. 2 pretty integral locations on the map is Paradise Resort as well as Ruins. But this fight between AX and Nongshim Red Force, it's taken a while to kick off. But in the meantime, it is Yangon Galacticos. Nade over the top, Smile very low. Yet another one taken down.
See if they can build from this up close and personal spam with the SMG trying to bait him in. It's a quick peek back with the DBS. Nice knock. Oh, it's really not going well in the overall fight though. You can see him being able to convert onto these knocks as well, so it's getting messy for both sides.
Got the Vector out. Fast fire rate on the side, but a good tag around the edge. But somehow, he absolutely fumbles it. Say Cloud will stay up here. 3 players up, 4 elims, very nice stuff. R8 goes down with just the 1 elim. AX, though, playing very cautiously, very safe. A Ralph here from Falcons making the rotate up towards Tambang. This has got to be, like you say, more than pageantry. This just can't be a rotate that you make, and it's just setting up there for setting up their sake. You know, he needs to check in over towards Ruins. This is a perfect opportunity for them to figure out how they want to deal with Ruins. We got a northwest circle on this one. if he recalls the rest of the boys, which they, honestly, in my opinion, should be moving pretty shortly. It's something they struggle with every time. Yes, Ralph sends up this way, but you've got to follow up on that. You have to follow up on that.
Yeah. There's another vulture circling around that area towards Ruins as well, and that's a representative from E-Arena with Joker in position to get a rough read, listening out for the audio cues. But of course, cutting over to what's going on the main feed here, Kinetro taking a bit of damage early on. It's actually Power Gaming, of course. The Power Esports boys coming out swinging. Again, another side that I feel like they were really hit with the unlucky stick towards the opening games we saw from them. By the end blank, they warmed up a bit. They were more proactive. You were seeing some nice splits, good fights. It's not really been that same level of lethality, though, I was expecting to see from Power.
Easy was pretty pissed, let's be honest, on that final day. There was a couple of moments where they dropped the ball. Overall, it was a successful day, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah, they didn't make it into that top 8, but I think you're right. It looked a lot better than their day 1. So for Power, at least, there's definitely opportunity, because I do respect it. I like the fact that they were willing to tell each other, like, guys, we've got to sort this out. There are some situations where we're just not playing well. And you know things are bad when Easy's the one who's holding the reins a lot of times. You don't want to see Al-Hadji in that front line. Navallo's down.
Mate, this is what I was worried about. You could see both of them had the same idea to try and third party on this setup, but E-Arena just instigate it and have already started to put Falcons into a rough spot. The AX setup as well on the drop. It's Henry that goes down. The thing that worries me here, this is way slower. The last time they went for this hot drop, they were taking the punches. They were the ones engaging. Henry seems like he went in for an opening sort of punch with the DBS. Didn't work. He's down. He's isolated. No one's there to back him up. But that worries me. Already, that's a sign of them not playing as confidently as they did last time.
It makes no sense to me either for Falcons, because if you're on that rotator from Sami, you've got a quick angle to get across that bridge there. Remember, Thunder Talk's out in the game. Camp Alpha, technically open. Alter Ego in the game. That's the Northwest Island pop open as well, so you've got teams moving in, but most likely on this first game of the survival stage, Camp Alpha is going to be pretty bare. Let's be quite frank about it, and I think for the Falcons, this should have been a quick read, send up, go towards Camp Alpha, or at least the compounds on that south side of it, scout it, then move further in. I don't understand why we're waiting around here, okay? If not, just have a look in over towards AX and Nongshan Red Force, you maybe get a pick off there, but the speed is slow. It's a slow rollout.
This is certainly a slow setup here as well. Doxy just playing on the edge towards the doorway there. You've got Cyrax in position. If he runs in, baited out by the shots, you should get a quick connection off with the DBS, take him down from the sidelines. There's only 3 of them left, of course, with Henry falling early. Oh, the decision-making on it! He had the timing for so long. Doxy gets in, not just with one, but a second follow-up, supported by the squad, and that's how they shut them down.
God. I mean, fair play to him, right? He got the hit reg off.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't do enough damage. I think the annoying thing for him is that Doxy just goes in with such careless abandon that it's almost hard to hit the shot on him. If AX going down there does feel pretty rough, but for Nongshan Red Force, definitely a positive sign for them. Getting ahead with all 4 players up. Power loses 2 as they move up. Easy. Frontliner, nade in hand, always has been touted as one of the better players on that team when it comes to those nades. Yeah, this was silly, in my opinion. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of emotion.
Yeah, I mean, you know how much it means to them. And that is a brutal start. One, you've got to sit there and just really absorb the atmosphere of the other teams now. No influence you can have on this lobby.
Dude, it also causes problem for you into the future, because now you're kind of considering whether you should keep going back to Paradise Resort.
True.
All right, it sets a precedent for Yangon Galacticos. Power Al-Hadji's still down. Managed to get 2 elims this game. I don't know how far he is out from this compound. We'll see if they can get him back up again, but I think it's highly unlikely. Vision down to 2. Marcelo and Volt still up. Volt had some pretty good success, I would say, in the group stage. I think he was carrying the team quite a few times. See what he's able to do here. What? There is so much space. The Northwest Island, it's so crazy. 4 thrives in hard tin. You know, Thunder Talks, Camp Alpha, Alter Ego, top side of the mountain. Teams should know that there is so many locations. I don't know why no one went to any of these spots either. I wonder if they just assumed that they would just be running into hot drops, and it's just hilarious to me that we instead get hot drops on Ruins as well as Paris Resort. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It's already looking like a bit of a scrappy one to kick us off here, going into the first day of survival stage. It's uncomfortable as well for Power, right? You had that third party set up towards the ridge side there with Hora getting the vision down, so they were able to take the connection shot off onto Al-Haji. And you're just trapped, feeling like sitting ducks, especially from the angles they've got if you try and peek out into it. Okay, E-Arena on our screens here, though. Already claimed that one Elim to start things off. Could be a good setup from Loxy from the sideline. Molly in through the door, Nade's responding on top of it as well. Spam on the smoke to see if he can get a connection. Toxic has that nade towards the backside. You've got a bit of a reposition from Joker there. He was the man that took a big blow onto Falcons to knock one player early, and he's still building. Good close quarters combat, quick reposition, find himself some cover. Wanted to convert onto the knock, but instantly bitten back upon by Silas.
This is the technical best team in survival stage. Wow, that could have been a big amount of damage going through. Moment has to back off the building. Nasty bounce on that one will cause it to jump back, but the shots coming through from Team Falcons now. Finally made that decision to cross the bridge. Took them a while, and it required E-Arena to make that move first. But for Regnum Karya now, they need to speed up this fight.
They've got to clean them out, remove Mormon from the position, so they've actually got some backline cover with that roam up from Falcons. You're going into his domain though. DBS, nice moves to at least try and bait him off with the peek from the side, but Mormon's ready for the first.
While down, just 2 players there for Regnum Karya. Not ideal whatsoever. Not an easy circle to play for Regnum Karya. But getting in here on this engagement, I think for Loxy, he's getting caught on the backside here. No information. It was a bit of a weird one with the 1-3 split going on. And the timing's just a bit off. It's a good Molotov actually from Joker as well, because it prevents Loxy from going back in that building, forces him to take that 1v1, and he's got the lip to play around with. You just wonder if the comm didn't come through fast enough for the rest of the team to react. That was just Silas, Poshvik left alive. They've got no clue where these bullets are coming from either, scanning the horizon.
The Elim feed as well, it's that delayed fight that was going on between Vision and Power. Trapped in the compound for quite some time. No-Fit was the one just guarding, watching over the top if they did peek out, but intermittent skirmish just between the two teams. No room for him to snatch away some points from that yet. And this has really been starved out as well. Obviously just that duo left, not the ideal start. A team that really could go so far here as well. You know, one of the horses that you were expecting to at least be able to push through, make it into that final race. Talented squad. Vision do finally fall though, taken out.
Yeah, Alteki, very shiny coat on that one coming off the back of PMGO. And to be honest, I put a lot of stock in that team.
Yeah.
I put a lot of stock in Regnum Karya. I do think they can go far. They get pitched out because it is such a fierce battle for the top on day 3 of group stages. I think it was 2 points. 2 points.
It was really close,
making it in. I think they ended up on 9th place there. So Regnum Karya, I still think they can go far here as a team. Not a great start though over on Sandhawk. They do have technically one of the strongest locations right now. But do they really have it, or are they just living in E-Arena's territory?
Might actually get the Falcons move up onto them as well. They've been biding their time for a while here. Meanwhile, we join the action with Alpha 7. Of course, defending champions of the trophy and the title from last year, but a very different look with how they've seen out on the battleground. Revo with the first contact, good shots over at least. Able to keep himself behind cover.
Not sure what Doc C's doing here, just kind of open themselves up for Revo to take any shots that he would like. Over the top, will hit hard. Doc C will go down. That's a heavy blow to take. Second one goes through, almost was on target, a little bit of a bouncer there. Could have been terrible news for Nongshim Red Force. Difficult location for Falcons to play from though. As we head up towards Regnum Karya as well as E-Arena, it's just a bit of a hill, right? It's pretty sheer. And again, if we keep circling in on this location, it's going to be downhill battles for some of these teams. And more often than not, an uphill battle for quite a few of them.
Yeah, you would be firmly on struggle street. This fight continuing here as well. Issue is for Nongshim in the back line. You're going to get closer and closer towards the Falcons. You're going to have bullets coming in from either side, feeling uncomfortable with the split as well, down to just 2 players off the back of this. Some nice nade work from Squash. He's been quite consistent, I'll give him that as well. It's been nice to see what Squash has been bringing to the roster.
He's fitted quite well, you know, like a glove. It's nice to see for Alpha 7 they can just get on board with him. They're right though, they do have to try something different because it's not working. You could, this is very different for Alpha 7, I would say. It's a much more passive playstyle than we usually see over on Sandhawk. They took their time to head over towards this position. The circle does afford them that time though, over on this southern bridge, and I do wonder how they're going to play this one out. Luckily for them, Falcons are losing a player. You've got Noxian Red Force down to 2. So there is a route in for Alpha 7.
Regnum Karia as well. It feels like it's so unfortunate with the setup there of how that initial fight went. And ever since, right, you've been trapped. Silas just having to keep himself in cover with the vehicle behind. Knows there's teams around him.
The crazy thing to me is that E-Arena's not cleared them.
No.
Because I get that Silence could take shots. I mean, if I'm E-Arena right now, I'm looking to clear Regnum Karia as this circle starts to push in. A lot of these teams on the northeast side are worrying about one another as opposed to E-Arena and Regnum Karia. You don't want them sat in this location. It's such a strong spot as well, considering like the surrounding area of it, where it's quite difficult to push over to that location. There's a little bit of cover in terms of trees as well as the rocks. But you have prime location. And so do Falcons. Falcons managed to pull this back from what was a bit of a shaky start, in my opinion. I feel like they could have had this a lot sooner.
You had the reposition from Ragnar as well, of course, the last remaining member of Power Esports. Not bad considering they found themselves 6 eliminations, but obviously going to want to try and steal away more. So much line of sight to play with. Really just tucked in now. Vehicle gets hit with a barrage of bullets from the bridge there. Carrillo being able to get vision onto him, so he's just got to tuck in.
I think he shot his own tyre out.
I think he has, yeah.
Accidentally.
Danger close, danger close.
Yeah, not ideal.
I guess this has at least taken the attention off Binny. Obviously, he tucked in underneath the bridge a while ago when Nongshin had to back off.
Check it. At least check it. He should know there's another team around here. He clears one. He knows there's at least 2 players up for Nongshin Red Force. Clear the bridge, please.
This is actually spotted as well. Late on the rotate. Man, he could be problematic.
For Alpha 7, they've got a fantastic spot to play out this game, at least get a top 4, right? You don't clear bridge, you lose a player to bridge, that hampers your chances. In the meantime, Yangon Galacticos have been pushing in from the blue, right? Now they're up against Influence Rage, and Myrna sends a wild spray in over towards Diego, who luckily gets the shot around the side.
Vision obscured, but the bullets were on target for Diego, though. Response back up close, and it's all gone wrong.
Lay on the bandage. I mean, to be fair, I'm saying that, but in the moment, that's a difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
You got to be quick thinking. So I can't be too upset with that one. I think the fact that Yangon Galacticos gets as far as they do is already fairly impressive. Horror Esports moving across from that northeast side. They do clean up Kino Trope, with Scarface actually finding those shots from Fireflux. Always on the long range, that guy, as we go in towards our next circle. That's brutal. That is brutal. Almost no reason to be on the south side of the circle here. And Revo goes down. Was that to Tizzy or Binny?
Tizzy. Yeah, Tizzy from the coastline.
It is sloppy.
Yeah.
It is sloppy.
I think the thing is, yeah, okay, they finally got vision onto it. That's the scary bit, because then obviously you turn your head on a swivel, you're expecting back towards the coastal side. Binny might have been able to cause some issues, both dive in towards the water.
Oh, mate.
This is getting messy.
Squash is looking around the side. There is a team coming through. That is a nice angle. Well played, Squash. Ignore that. Five looks over towards the east. Right now, they just need to clear a lot of these teams on their eastern side, but they lose one in Solus, which is not good. They have a lot more teams to deal with, and they need a large roster to make that happen. Desperately needs to get him back up on his feet. Binny will go down eventually. Regnum Kaya actually winning on the north side.
Squash finally being able to finish that one off onto Binny as well. And you're right. It's not ideal whatsoever for an intense game. Bullets back over onto it. Meanwhile, we lose the last representative from Horror Esports as well.
It's 2 guys.
Wow.
It pushed them.
Yeah, go for something confident here, surely. Play off one another. I mean, Silas has just been tucked in this exact pass for like a good, 5-10 minutes. Effectively uncontested. The nade back.
This is wild. This is wild. One on the left-hand side will go down. Toshbek needs to be quick on the trigger, though. If he wants to get Silas back up, one goes down the back lines. They might just finish this off. Now just Mormon left alive. Toshbek in a 1v1.
Oh, the peek into it. Okay, quick switch to the shotty secondary and able to mop that one up. But that is rough, dude. The fact he's forced it down to the solo, decision to make to go for the pick back up as well, especially with Fireflux further down the hillside. How has he got away with so much mischief? Just 2 of them.
35 seconds. I think he has time to get Sakura back up again, but yeah, messy. Very, very messy. I do think that the arena could just have pushed them slightly earlier there. With nades, take 2 angles. If you're getting shot, just back it up. Falcons, though, fantastic spot. Could have had 4. Alvaro didn't go down. But Alpha 7 do make it to that coastal side, and Tizzy continues to be a problem.
Yeah, the double spray. What? He got the backline angle for a double spray onto Alpha 7.
They know he's here.
They were aware from so long ago. Exposed himself to it. This is brutal, bro. Roll up as well. Falcons potentially realizing now's the time to go in. Koa from the sideline spots them. Exchange on points between either team. We say goodbye to Alpha 7. And Falcons looking to put themselves in a good spot.
I was hoping Falcons just take down Tizzy there. Honestly. Fair play to the Falcons. This has been an odd game all round. Let's be honest. I think Falcons could have been quicker over towards that north side. There's a lot of teams on that Northwest Island that were cut out in that top 8 who were finding the most success there. Nade goes down over towards Ralph.
My.
Literally eats it, chomps down on it. No big deal.
That's nuts. A Maxim-esque nade right on target, but he barely survives with a sliver of HP. Difference is, obviously, when you look at the battle of attrition, right? Falcons, the only squad that have 3 players left alive going into this. Want to play off one another. Rotate over from Fireflux as well. The arena in position to at least get a shot potentially back onto Redox from the side.
Scarface is not... He's a bit of an unknown factor here for these teams because he is incredibly good when it comes to these open sight lines. They also have this ridge to work around. And Fireflux are currently inside the circle. Falcons have to push out into that open ground. E-Arena also need to move, but they're close to the circle, so they can afford to wait slightly. You can see here Koa as well as Ralph edging closer and closer. That's a big Molotov. Very, very nicely placed. That's Ralph going down, and Koa has to play in the smokes, but there's Scarface.
Oh, here he comes. Unloads the magazine, gets a clean connection off. Sakura down, sideline back over from Redox. Goes both ways. Wave goodbye to E-Arena. Leaves us in the final fight with just 2 squads, Fireflux and Falcons.
This is fantastic from Koa, man. He has to immediately start moving up. He knows he can't delay. And I think actually Fireflux won't expect him being this close. Like, that was a stellar decision from him.
Catch. Spotted out from Redox in the back line. Prime nade from Koa, chucked back over. Calls it quits on the push back up. 2-2 split. A lot of distance to work with here. Uphill battle, just spots out the head, but it's a quick timing on the peak. Scarface, back over, bullets down, heavy tag.
The only thing is that Redox almost scares him off the position that Koa was going for with the nade. This nade's coming in quick, though. Koa sends a nade down, does good damage over towards Ketch, and Scarface is yet to toss the nade just yet. Could air burst over towards him. Koa's taking a 1v1, and Ketch will win it out.
Oh, the Tommy Titan unloads the magazine, shuts down the first Redox with a big task ahead of him. Quick peek up over the rock face, battling back with the DBS, trying to keep them isolated. Give himself 1v1s. He's got the heal in. Quick peek back around, trying to see if he can bait them on the face. If they give him an opportunity, he could snatch it up close, but Scarface handles it, and they will snatch that one away.
It's a dangerous proposition. Scarface will be letting some scars into the battleground there from long range. Give him a sight line, give him an opening, giving him an open field, and it's hard to deal with him. But the Falcons, though, again, cannot give enough praise over towards Koa. He is just making some big movements. I really do think if Redox doesn't take those shots there, potentially that nade goes through. It's a little bit of a miscom, potentially. It might be a case he has to take those shots to keep himself alive, but yeah, frustrating. Definitely frustrating stuff there.
It just felt like the pace, very slow burn on that one as well. You can see they're not over-egging it. I don't know if that's going to be a problematic issue though as well, but there just isn't that much level of instant engages, the quick confidence, the plays you'd expect them to make. A little bit more timid, they walk away with second place. Fireflux take that one to kick off the survival stage. We'll bring you more action in a few minutes' time.
Cybertron's future is near. Autobots, roll out! Reeks of weakness. Your courage reignites my spark. We'll crowd a new load of Cybertron. Victory for all sentient beings.
A region notorious for excellence and inflatables, apparently, here for the Esports World Cup. And we have got ourselves a victory for Fireflux. Impressive stuff from them coming in on Sandhawk and being able to get the dub. Joining me, Seven, as well as Maxman. Fireflux, man, I mean, they were able to win things out on the eastern side. It was looking a little bit tricky there, Max, but they did make it work.
I like Fireflux, man. Rename is happening. Fireflux, man. No, playing Trifecta, there was a lot of teams. I think there was Kinotrope, Influence Rage. There was also at one point Horror. We don't want to get involved in that mess over there. We'll just wait into the deeper side of Trifecta, wait for all the teams to fight and eliminate each other, and then we transition, claim the high ground to go for the win. It was a clean, executed chicken dinner. I do think other teams maybe showed more potential, but we finally get a Turkish chicken dinner instead of Regnum Karya, which is kind of impressive.
I mean, for a team that has a lot of experienced players, this is something you and I were talking about, Max, coming into today, is that we were kind of expecting Fireflux to be a bit of a dark horse today, right? The experience is there. They just haven't really been executing a plan. So for them to get a chicken dinner here, it kind of sends a bit of a red flag to all the other teams that they are here to win it and make it to the grand finals.
I mean, because if you tell me how do Fireflux tend to play, passive does not come to mind, okay? Their team, they see you, they chase you down, they get the 4 points. Here, they were just playing very slow, which that shows growth for me, that they might be able to make in the top 8.
I think something that was cool about their approach towards those final circles is they were hedging their bets. We were talking about how the coastline can be very strong in these kinds of circles, but also you have Scarface North trying to position as if he could potentially take the high ground. Once the circle shifts come in here, Seven, they're like, okay, we can take this high ground, we can leverage this against their opponents, and I think it was really good for them to have options available.
Yeah, and at the end, I mean, you saw them being able to react to Koa once Koa was trying to get an angle on them too. Quick reaction, making sure you eliminate them, and now you turn that into a 2v1. Red Ox was just not going to be able to do much. One team that I did see there towards the bottom of the leaderboard, and I kind of have to call them out, is going to be AXTMG. Once again, with this hot drop on Nongshim Red Force, you could tell Nongshim Red Force does not like that. I mean, they're wondering if it's going to be happening tomorrow. Now, the reason why I bring this team up is because for AXTMG, Sandhawk is usually their best map. Now it's time to put up or shut up for that team and make sure they get points going into Erangel.
It's not BMPS, you don't have as many Sandhawks as they have over there. And why do you want to start your best map with a hot drop? Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. You can be good at the map, a hot drop is just pretty much 50-50, and even if you do win it, you might lose players, and you don't have a chance of winning the game.
Especially since there's other options than Ruins down there that nobody's at. So you could take the same rotation paths as well, in theory.
Yeah, I could see why they did it, especially because they won that first hot drop back in group stage, and then it kind of forced them out. So they're feeling themselves, they're feeling confident.
Yeah.
They think they're going to do it again, but that was not the case. I'm hoping that one of these two teams is going to be giving up, and if it's any team, I would highly suggest for AXTMG to just step away.
You're talking about AXTMG, R8, Yangon Galactico. That was happening in Paradise Resort. I thought it was completely resolved after the group stage, right? We know where all these teams drop. So you know these compounds, these cities are overtaken. Why is it happening again when you only have, again, 12 games? You need to make every game count, so this is going to hurt them really, really badly here for the survival stage.
Very small sample size of 12 games. And if 2 games on a Sandhawk are going to be an aggressive starts and things like that, I would argue in a really long-form tournament, Paradise Resort's not that bad a spot to actually challenge for compared to a Ruins, right, Max? But, I mean, at the same time, only 2 of them. I would rather you go trash drop near Paradise and not take that for only 2 Sandhawks.
There are so many teams. I mean, it's no Yasnaya. Like, it's not big enough to have 2 teams. If you want to fight for it, fair enough. But you could also just drop around, as you said, go for the trash locations around it and shut down the rotation of that team's trying to exit, because we have this trend of circles going always Northwest Island. It's happening every time. So you just just put yourself between Paradise and Northwest Island. Easy 4 points. Like, it's easy.
We've seen some teams in the past being able to do that and actually succeed with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate... So, for example, because we get so many of those Northwest Islands on Sandhawk here, Max, you don't have Thunder Talk in the lobby. You don't have Alter Ego in the lobby. So I like the adaptation that we see from Intense Games to try and drop up there. I mean, it's obviously a great spot if you can make it work. And we see Circle so commonly up there, but it really didn't materialize for them in this game.
Actually, yeah, of course, Intense Game is the obvious outlier that they took the E-Arena, the Alter Ego spot, of course, going into that.
Yep.
I want to highlight Regnum Karya. They know, oh, wait, that position is going to be free right away. We're going to send it right in the compound next to where typically Alter Ego or Thunder Talk would tend to play. So they snatch it very early on. I do think, unfortunately, E-Arena had a very similar idea and cracked the same compound. Like, you're already here, what's going on? But that did, unfortunately, result in an early elimination of Regnum Karya.
Well, not even early elimination. They fought for so long. It came down to 18 minutes, and then that's when the fight finally ended. And then nobody ended up winning because I think E-Arena ended up with, what was it, just one player? And Regnum Karya obviously getting eliminated. So not something that you want to see. Something I do want to mention, though, with Alpha 7, we were seeing them late rotate into the circle. We were wondering if that was going to be happening because of the way that the circle was going to be going. And then on top of that, they were just being able to surprise Nuncheon Red Force. You had some players from Nuncheon Red Force being able to now move on to the North Island. One thing I was kind of thinking about in my head, I was like, man, they're not clearing. They're not clearing that player towards the bottom, and he's going to be able to get him. I'm not sure, I can't remember at the top of my head if he did end up getting Rebel or not. But then on top of that, they know where TZ was, still on the South Island, and they still go for that push without any cover. It's just crazy mistakes for Alpha 7 to be making.
It felt like them and Fireflux both knew there is someone down there. We can't take the coastline as easily as we would like. You have to clear them out. And then it felt like almost as if Alpha 7 had got a little bit impatient with that push forwards and then being so open on that angle. It's a bit uncharacteristic for me once again of Alpha 7 here, Max.
Yeah, I just want to repeat what Blank said. They know he's there. They knew the entire time he was down there. Like, he was taking shots earlier. It was very surprising that even if you can't get rid of him because he's going to play very sneaky, play behind the ridge, he does not want to get eliminated. But the fact that they just send it on rocks and trees that, like, one off angle can just destroy your entire setup was very surprising. So I think Alpha 7's going to have a bit of a wake-up call after this game that this is survival stage. Games like this, you're not going to get away with a slightly good position. You need to be very, very careful when you take them over.
Yeah, definitely a wake-up call. And the thing is that we usually see a team being able to kind of set up themselves. If you know that there's a player there, send two players in the vehicle, but at least have the other player keeping an eye out towards that South Island. That wasn't even the case. They weren't even worried about it. And that's the biggest wow moment for me. Is like, you cannot be making these mistakes, especially in an area that they have won games before in PMSL Americas.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Alpha 7 for a hot minute here. I actually want to highlight Falcons. Like, they knew the value of that underbridge and the coastal area, and they're like, okay, actually, Alpha 7 getting completely destroyed by Tizzy and the off angle over the side of that river. Let's just get an off angle of our own, eliminate them, and then get a very nice entry point into the circle for both Koa and the side, of course, of Red Ox. So I think we've seen a lot more in this one game alone here, 7, of Falcons than the entirety of the group stage.
And for Falcons, one thing that was a little bit sketchy for me was going to end up being just Rauf maybe overextending too much.
Yeah, got to look out for that. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time now to head over to the commentators. Game number 2, we change things up and head to the grassy pastures of Erangel.
Thank you very much, James. Excited for this one, but I think for the teams, Blank, you can see they are erring on the side of caution. We have seen moments of panic, frustration, specifically in the case of R8, and man, some decision-making where it feels like everyone's a bit more timid today. The survival stage and the title that comes with that, you can feel the true force in this arena.
Some of the teams are absolutely at risk. At Kayla risk. Oh yeah. Of going over the edge.
That's actually pretty good. I like that. I like that. And I'll tell you what you'll like, our official PUBG Mobile map feed that is now live on YouTube, of course. If you want to follow the games in the same way that me and Blank do when we're in the casting booth and we've got both screens up at the same time, giving you all the info, you can do it. And why wouldn't you?
You could be in the booth at home. We have Booth at Home.
We do.
Now available over on PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel. Check that one out because it's going to be all important here, keeping up to date with all the scrappy rotations, the weird and wonderful turns we'll go through on this match of Erangel as it comes at you live here from Riyadh. Very excited to see how this one plays out because you're right. I think it's a perfect opportunity to bring this up. It's just they're stressed.
Yeah,
they're stressed, and it's not fun to look at. Teams, the tension is so tight. And I'm feeling like for some of these teams that string's going to snap and it's going to be explosive. I'm going to get back into this. I mean, you see Rebel just rubbing the eyes down. I mean, he is... That last game, I mean, yeah, rub the eyes. Blind to Binny.
Apparently so, right? It just felt like they knew about those positions. They were aware of what they had to do, but when it came down to decision making, it just wasn't Alpha 7. It really wasn't. It didn't have that same caliber that we know they can play to.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was saying to you, it feels almost like you're watching 4 individuals that are fighting amongst themselves. It's not that sort of team ethic that we saw that took them to that title win last year. And a lot can change in 12 months.
Mafioso was the rock for that team, and now it's kind of squash who's that player for them. It's weird as well, because for Alpha 7, I mean, those 3 players have been together for the longest time. They have some very good grouping and play well off the back of one another. But I think the days are gone now where Revo could kind of just step up to absolutely anybody in the lobby and win with a DBS, just hand down. I think he has to play off the rest of his team and just having those moments where you're like, I'm just going to push up. It doesn't work anymore. Anyway, we banged on a lot about Alpha 7 there. Currently on a split up towards that north side. Let's hope it goes well in this game for them. And instead, let's take a look at Falcons. The last game could be described as some sloppy maneuvers. I think that they could make it through to the top 8 with that kind of play style. They looked a lot more solid over in PMSL EU. And I think they need to get back into things. I think for them, honestly, the pressure is probably less on here in Survival Stage, and it's pulled back a little bit, you know? That pressure to go straight to main stage, of all the crowd cheering for them, not as much for them here over in the Survival Stage. But again, it is still Koa who's making a lot of those big movements, a lot of those big decisions, and I'd like to see some more of the team, you know, step up for them, because right now you can't be the only one making those plays, forcing the team into good positions.
Yeah, I think again on that note as well, you could see sort of the high pressure decision making. The comms looked a little bit messy, and in the survival stage, I just don't think you can be allowed that luxury. It's got to be point perfect. The choreography needs to be nailed every time. And if we're ever looking at them where it feels like, oh, you know, it's paralysis by analysis, they're not able to instantly make that heads-up call, I just don't think that embodies how that team needs to play. We'll see, though, obviously. Game 1, right, we'll put it to one side. Let's focus up on the rest of the survival stage today. We're going to our second outing now. We'll see how the land starts to lie. Of course, relatively close grouping for the mid portions of the teams there. Not gigantic point earners for the most part.
For Fireflux, I bet they're very pleased about the Sandhawk. I think it's been quite a while since we've seen an actual good Fireflux Sandhawk. I think they were always in the conversation towards the end game, but getting themselves a chicken dinner must feel very, very good. You saw them shouting. They were elated by that win. It's a good moment for them. And I think for Fireflux, this is certainly the spark that might start something special for them in the survival stage. For their PMSL EU outing, you know, it was pretty decent, all things considered. Couldn't quite best over towards some other teams, but I think overall it was a very, very good result for them. Sort of came out of nowhere on that last day and just jumped and jumped and jumped. For Regnum Karya, on the other hand, there have been some really good games. I think in their 2 days of play, the group stage, there were some really cool moments for them. What I think happened to Regnum Karya in that group stage is that they had a lot of situations where they could have capitalized, like Alter Ego, but failed to transition very, very late into the game, into something fantastic. And I think if they were able to do that, I think that would have given them the confidence and the momentum to push even further. So I just think for Regnum Karya, we're waiting a little bit. We are playing the waiting game. We can't wait forever.
No, you certainly can't. I think it's interesting as well, because obviously 4-5's had some amazing games. The team that always felt like they could have made similar plays was Regnum Karya. They were always in very similar positions with some of the circles we saw there. But like you say, just didn't quite capitalize on it. And we saw how well that went for 4-5's, right? Suddenly you absolutely blow the way up. They're looking fantastic, racking up those results. And yeah, I mean, again, man, like we're coming into this, they're one of the teams that you would expect to be able to make it out from this portion of survival stage. And I think with the talent, they should be able to bring it. But obviously, you've got to show that in the lobby.
I think you would be disappointed not to see them go through. And it's funny, actually, because the way things actually shape up right now, barring, let's say, E-Arena, which I feel bad saying, I think that's the only team that I'm sort of skeptical about. But if all 8 of these teams made it through to the finals, I think I'd be quite happy with that. Honestly, I think that makes sense. You know, Fireflux all the way down to Regnum Karya in 8th place now, probably would switch out E-Arena with horror. But I am prepared for anyone to make that big, impressive maneuver.
It's early doors, so we'll hold our reservations for now, see how it develops. Oh, AX, okay, up against Alpha 7 up on the hillside. Exchange of nades. Only a few left in the back pockets, couple thrown out. Relatively fragmented as well. It's Devotee that's kind of trapped on an island. Cyrax there, but the Bazon to support, not the best range.
Yeah, absolutely running low on ammo as well. And I mean, for Alpha 7, they've had to back off because it's danger close on the other side with Regnum Karya pushing up that way. Intense game playing around Hospital. Typically, Regnum Karya is quite good at playing this position, where they hold a lot of space and just create problems for you. It's very central right now as well, so I don't think many teams are too unhappy with their spot for Alpha 7. They're dropping smokes right now, trying to get away. I think they're happy to just give this corner of Everest over towards AX. They don't want to get caught in the crossfire between two teams.
Quite a nice shot from Henry there. Good distance on it. Looked like the Mini 14 getting a tag from the sideline. It's Mafioso. So they are able to back themselves up. Of course, tons of cover to work with on this. She's not going to eat damage from the front line. Mafioso as well can kind of hold Edgard in this, get a bit of a read on where they're going.
Yeah, your only difficulty, right, is you getting pincered a little bit if you're Alpha 7. It takes a lot of coordination to realize where you are. For AX, they're in a slightly worse scenario where there's a lot of sight lines looking up towards that location. You can get pushed easily and then you become the pincered team. Typically, if no one heads up here, Alpha 7 does need to be very careful about this southwest side of Everest. Regnum Karya, they're going to play it slow. Yep, absolutely don't want to be doing that. I think you did see clear that actually go down to scout the building that currently Regnum Karya have held. And it's a good spot. It's a very, very good spot to play, quite open around there. You do have this little ridge side here, which prevents you from taking shots to teams that do situate themselves on this locale, but this is going to provide information back fairly quickly to Korea if Regnum Karya ever want to push.
Meanwhile, you get the POV as well. Nice little establishing shot here with the rotate for Hora Esports. Another team that I think, you know, we've seen a lot of good telltale signs, especially in that last game, some of the heads-up fights they went for. No Fear was making some nice plays. I think Sky as well, like the close range combat, dude, he was thriving. It felt like he was just kind of, you know, bring me more, bring me more.
No Fear's has his moments, right? And I think the Sky's able to capitalize on them quite a lot. But yeah, No Fear's been opening up a lot of opportunities for this team. I think they fell off quite a large amount towards the end of group stage. Weren't able to quite maintain pace with some of the other teams who were just living in large, right? Alter Ego were living their movie throughout the entirety of that one. And I think for Horror, they just weren't able to match that. I think here in this type of lobby, it's a much easier locale to really display some of that strength that they have. Now, this is an awkward one. You can see a tons of team on the western side of this circle. You're pushing out over towards open ground, over towards Pachinki. You don't necessarily want to head over towards one of those cities nice and early here. But for your Team Vision, I think heading over towards Church right now, getting that high ground set up, you could easily go for something like that. You won't want Fireflux coming in from that eastern side to pick that one up too quickly. So yeah, I think for Team Vision, it is just a case of getting Vision over towards Church, making sure it's not taken, because it is an astronomical amount of teams that are on the western edge.
R8 as well, thrown into a potential bout between Influence Rage there, down towards the roadside. Marazin set up a couple shots back over Prestige, taking a hefty hit from Law, bringing down the gavel on that one. And again, you know, we already saw R8, it was frustrating. Their outing in the first game, it hit them heavy. The headsets were thrown off, the team was dejected instantly. So being able to at least withstand an opening pick here and bring yourself back into it, that's going to do more for the men. They do lose Prestige, he's fully taken out. You get the response back over, so 3-3 left on the player count there between them and Influence.
Yeah, Law gets repealed. And like you say, it's a case of we went 3 for 3. Right, I think us losing one player, you losing one player, can't be too unhappy with that one. At least it doesn't go unanswered, right?
Yeah.
But alright, if it went unanswered after that last game where they barely got to play, you're feeling so cold going into that third match. It's very rough. So they have to play in this game for a good 10 minutes from now. If they want to get some more of that practice in, which you hope they've been doing over the past break day, or maybe they're taking a bit more of a relaxer. But wait and see. Horror over towards the east, coming in through from Pachinki. Yangon Galacticos down towards the south side though. See if they actually do end up battling against one another. I think they do have a player nice And up in front, to hold those players out, Horror's going to have to go for something very quick here.
Could be an interesting head-to-head as well. Both of those teams have been playing with the pace a fair bit throughout the games we've seen from them. For Horror as well, you know, a lot of question marks. They play a little bit too passive at times, but they've been able to switch it on when they need to.
Pretty rough position going through this field. A lot of sidelines available over towards it. It's a little bit later in the game now, so not as many teams will be holding this. So they're just going to head over towards the south side of Pachinki. I think that's fair enough. They checked the buildings down towards that south side where Yangon Galacticos currently ended up, and they didn't fancy that smoke. So sending over towards that south side, taking the gamble on that one that no one's picked up in the meantime. They can potentially hold out R8 here, but it looks like R8's heading further down over towards Yangon Galacticos, which might have been a mistake for them. But next circle coming through. Ouch. Straight down towards the fields. Teams have got to plant themselves in here.
Hope someone comes along to water you to sprout into a chicken dinner. Kind of combining the analogies there. I don't know if that one really lands.
A bountiful harvest.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's true. Some nice potato growth.
Chicken and potato. We like it. We like it.
Hey, that's a whole dinner.
That is a whole dinner. A lot of teams moving in, though, over towards this field. You don't have much choice right now. This is going to have to be a fast migration from a lot of teams. You are burning rubber to get here. But where in here do you go? There's not a lot of options.
Yeah, limited space with a lot of squads to try and balance this out between them.
It's actually a great rotate from Falcons. I'm actually very pleased with this. This is fast. They're into a nice spot. Actually, this is one of the better rotations I've seen Falcons make, because this is a team that frustrates me so much because they'll see it. Never mind. Oh, Valo, come on. They'll see it. They'll see a location on the map that's free and they just refuse to take it. Honestly, fair play to these three players that made it through, because this is a good spot. They had to be quick about it. Yeah, sure, maybe Valo lost a tire. That's why he goes down there. And you could sort of respect the fact that they actually went for this for the first time in forever instead of sitting out on the edge. I am pleased. I sound angry. I am pleased. I'm pleased. I'm very, very pleased, in fact.
He's smiling. He's smiling whilst he says it. I can attest to that. Get a shot into the back line there as well of AX. Meanwhile, Horror in the rear, just trying to get vision down. A couple of bullets being fired out by Sleepy and Sky. That's Fireflux, of course, that took the opening chicken dinner of the survival stage.
It looks like they're healthy for it. Right? They're giving it this game. They are over towards that northeast side, though, and Horror currently has that high ground against them, but plenty of little cover to play around with. This little ridge side as well is a nightmare to assault. I think Horror sent a player far down towards the south, though, who might be able to take some shots through. That's no fear. Still, it's not easy to thread the needle if you want to find a pick-off. Either way, no fears create space for them to push through in the end. Kinotrope. Not a bad location, and then very, very central. Honestly, I would be very, very happy to see Falcons do well this game. But with Gamax on the north side, who have caused them problems multiple times in the past, we'll have to wait and see. But we'll put a pin in that one.
It's Alpha 7. They do get the shots off with a Mini 14 at least back onto AX. The Arena similarly nipping at the heels on the chase there. Seems like Lil Boy goes down to Kinotrope. He was able to find that shot towards Narvalo moments ago when they went for the reposition towards the compound where Gamax were holding.
There's some brutal circles, Jackie. It's very brutal. Kind of the crescent moon on the eastern side, just filled with fields, and then kind of open area. The grasslands over towards the western edge. A bit bumpy though. And there is some tree lines to work with. I think intense game does find a nice little neat moment. Squeeze through the gap on that west side, but I think they're likely wanting to be holding out those teams like E-Arena, who would be likely coming from that compound on the west.
Heads on a swivel here for Fireflux as well. Found a stab back over towards Vision. Able to take that man down out of commission. Still looking for more, potentially reposition back over from Scarface onto Hora. Meanwhile, on our screens here, you can see the nades being cast out down towards Intense Game. The Dolphins have got to make a move quick.
It's one shot.
Couldn't quite land it though.
Madness. Sleepy does go down. Scarface actually pushes really far out towards the eastern side. It's a nice pickup from him. I don't think he needs to push this too far though. He can probably come back towards the team. He's just making sure that Sleepy ends up in the blue. And he can confirm that, which he will do now. Intense Game, lobs nades. Too close. And then too far. And then yet again too close. So the geometry on that one, not great.
More shots into Hora as well. The Firefly setting themselves up after picking off one player with the aggro push from Scarface. Everyone else is being able to shoot towards them as they have to bail quite a far distance in the ground.
What is the options here, Jack?
Just run, man. Head held down.
Falcons do catch off one of the players in Sky. He was getting a little bit too close for comfort for them. But they're going to hold this position with the Soak going north as well. Good for Falcons. More time spent in this compound means more time at safety. Silas is able to find AEX, but Silas will get taken out by Intense Game, giving them no chance to pick their player back up again. They had a 2-2 split going on. Wild wasn't able quite to grab him. I say long shot, by the way, down that south side versus Alpha 7, and they find him.
Yeah, that was the steal away from E-Arena as well, even off the back of the knock from R8 there. So Alpha 7 feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Obviously, Intense Game similarly in the angle to work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know why he was peaking that in the first place. Like, they've got to think about what they need to do next, and R8 has to move in. Like, there's limited time that they can take that long angle on the western side. I just don't think Mafioso had to make that peak, especially when he's placed himself on the hard edge of the blue as well, where the north side can see you. Not enjoyable. Yeah, I don't see them lasting very long here.
Now, it was a nice attempt on the rescue mission, I'll give him that. Obviously, for what it is, though, Squash is able to lock this angle down. He's been really crisp as well. Good tracing. You can see even from distance, able to keep on target. Obviously, you run the risk of going for the save on your teammate. Instead, both you go down because of it. So again, it's a really brutal game for R8. Meanwhile, here we can see E-Arena on the crash down. They're going to see if they could shut down Intense Game. Flashbang right in the corner. Keep you concussed. The shotgun comes out. Joker trying to make things work, and they will do just that. Goodbye, Intense Game.
8 elims again for E-Arena. Weird moments where E-Arena has these cool plays, but then will completely cool off. The engine will stall, and we see if that happens right here, right now versus Alpha 7s. They make their way up. They hear the fighting. It's a good opening knock, and they're sending more in. What are you doing? Oh, let him crawl in at least.
So grouped, they give that one up basically for free with the shrapnel being thrown over from Alpha 7. Al-Haji even taking pot shots from the side now, got an angle on the top of the ridge. The nade follow-up, that should basically be E-Arena completely blown to bits. I mean, you've got one guy, it's just Joker trying to get away. Everyone else in a horrific position.
It's a good clean up onto Intense Game, but if you're E-Arena there, now's not the time to start looting up. It's the time to get going. Right, you got to figure out your next move. Teams are moving in from your south side. You should know that from that compound that was sat underneath them. Tony K goes down to Al-Haji, who's bringing the pain in this game. In the meantime, most teams are on the outer edge. There's not a lot of area to play. You can see here, it is just barren ground. And that bountiful harvest we were talking about earlier might not be quite coming through for a lot of our teams.
Oof. Koa getting the spot there on towards Solus. Damage back over from Power as well. As Fahedon's able to show his impact to Power Gaming, revving the engines, keeping the momentum going. For R8, they did get the revive back up onto the knocked players. There is still 2 alive in commission. That was Marth with the heads-up maneuver to keep him up whilst the attention was turned from Alpha 7. Of course, on that E-Arena crash that we saw moments ago.
For R8, they made it a fair way into this game. I think they had to. They needed something to give themselves a little bit of confidence going into the next matches after that first one where it looked brutal for them. It looked absolutely brutal. Power in the meantime, though, like a locust over on this western side of the map, ruining all of our crops, realistically. Taking one shot after another at stragglers. The more they clear on the western side as well, the more strength they'll have in towards that end game. It looks like Easy's going to scout down over towards Alpha 7 here. We're getting peppered.
And this is that split from Reg and Karia that aren't actually in a bad position whatsoever. You can see the bullets over from Loxy. He's got them pinned in. Marth trying to take a couple of shots from the side as well, see if he can steal away anything from this. And Revo's realizing, man, like the entire team is just being cauterized. They can't get towards one another. You are trapped in position. Marth getting the headshot on that as well, coming back to haunt them. They threw the first stone at R8, but instead that's just fragmented the entire team for a late game finish on this one.
Ida getting knocked there out in the open. Again, for Kalia, respect their attempt. I mean, he had to get out there, couldn't wait around for the vehicle to pop. It would have taken his life. He's managed to crawl all the way across the Revo, though.
Kind of impressive. He's actually made it that far.
Yeah, it's a good smoke train. Eden goes for a blind nade. A guess on it. Just having a look at the smokes. Toshbik goes down, as does Loxy. That's a double knock on the nade. Wild's not there to assist, and this should be a free and easy maneuver coming through. That must have been directly through those slits on the top of the shack there as well. What a nade that comes through there. Oh, yeah, I think you leave him. I think you leave him. I think if you're Wild, you're looking for a survival game. I don't even know why you bothered.
You got to know when to cut your losses on that one.
Yeah. No one to fold him.
Exactly, man. Can't be going for these gambles right now. This is not the time to do it. I mean, at least with the reset, obviously you've got the two players from Alpha 7. They were able to get the pick back up in Korea so they can play off one another, but they have to just bail. The position was compromised for so long. Kinotrope inside of the slight hut there. Back towards the hovercraft. Tuck in, see if they could steal that one. Key's still in it. Nade over the top, just into the back line. If that's on target, it could be uncomfortable, and they're pinned in at least. You got the flames in front of them, the nade over the backside. Horror getting hit by Easy as well, makes that look easy.
Update, Kalia goes down. Just Revo's still up. Nongshin Red Force in the back lines as well, taking shots. Some good nades, some good ordnance coming through from Kinotrope to keep them at bay. In the meantime, Falcons will have to deal with Gamax on this north side eventually. They played a slow game with one of the only teams that had a compound for this long, but they need to step up now. Right, versus Gamax, this is where they need to win this fight. I think it would be a crying shame if they lose this engagement.
It's insane as well that like Fireflux have just been able to set themselves up and live their movie. Just sit pretty consistent damage down. Obviously you had Alpha 7 trapped, so that's just a free elim. They're able to take away that team. And they have been sharing this land for so long. I mean, Gamax have basically been sat here with two players for an absolute age.
I get that they were wanting to wait for the pushes to come through, but I do think they could have held off on those nades a little bit. But I think Falcons just wanted to confirm their cause on this north side. It sort of makes sense. They will have to move down now. It really depends on how aware they are of the rest of the circle. Like, what's the scenario? What's the situation? Have they been keeping tabs? This is a long ramp from Koa over towards Power, which I personally think is really dangerous.
Yeah, this is kind of insane. Honestly, this is a Power that look really strong in this match especially. They've been playing some great PUBG Mobile. The fights they've been taking, it's heads up, it's quick decision making, they're relying on one another. Push into this, you better be ready, Blank.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. I will say, though, from Koa, the ramp he made on at least his hillside, quite safe to go for, but he does not give a damn. Koa is dragging the team at times, kicking and screaming into these locations. And if it's the case that Ralph's making these calls, Koa is absolutely on the money when it comes to it. He's like, you want me to go scout that? I'll do it right now. No hesitation. And that's an initial knock coming through over towards Ragnar.
Yeah, that might have thrown you a bone. That's from R8 as well. So it's R8 being able to get the shot into the back line. They could engage off of this. It'd be the opportunity to go for it. Obviously, you can get that player back up pretty quickly, though. They're giving them time to work with on this. They've got a little bit of cover for it.
Yeah, they have to move down. But I think they understand that for Power, they've got to move first. Likely they'll send south, which I think Easy's doing right now. Kinotrope's just been living inside that shack for a long, long time. No one's been able to get close enough to send nades in. It is very much in the open. 2 loot crates to work with, though, for Fireflux, so they get a gift from up on high.
It's tight on the elims as well. 7 for Power, 6 for both Nonshin Red Force and Fireflux. You feel like they basically just had freedom to wait for the push to come towards them. Easy set up with a bit of paranoia about Marth's angle. He knows where he is now off the back of the shots that were fired over. Just the risky run of leaving yourself exposed from the back.
Doxy's going to move, and soon. Ralph knows it. Just hold the angle. Has a rough idea now where the other players are. From Fireflux, at least. Pass that information back across. We'll take this shot, and he was just looking off to the right. Oh, caught slacking. Ketch will pick up that elim. They could crash this if they wanted. I think they'd much rather get rid of Power though first.
Still the moves Power have been making. You're the push back over onto Marth, you steal away the bit of cover from him for now. Still 3 players alive. Getting a lot of reads onto this. Attention being drawn over towards Fireflux as well from the majority of the squads, and the Kenotrope still just being able to live on borrowed time. Just sat tucked in, dropping the smokes, keeping it uncomfortable for teams to get close.
Again, I think what's happening right now is the nades used by Falcons versus Gavax, which I think was unnecessary. They were going to go down at some point either way, as that blue pushed them out. Koa does find Ketch. What a shot. And what a timing on it. No one goes down, and they can crash it. I think they have to crash it. Ralph's going to send it first here. Dropping as much medication as possible. Complete misread on the angle. Has to be happening from Redox. Koa's left behind, and Madcap lives this one out.
Oh, man. The shots from the side from Kenotrope are huge as well to buy time, and this comes back to bite them in the bottom. I mean, you can get the res back up, get him in position. They've still got a good angle to fight with on this one. Fragments them massively. And for Power, they might be in a spot to potentially steal some of this away. You got the scout from the Hedan at least looking for the read back over.
I'm just not entirely sure what the idea was. I think they'd bought themselves some time, in which case they could start looking out over towards Power. They didn't even bother to try and scout those players. Ketch is going to send out of the way, immediately ducks down, M79 in the hands, but it will be Ragnar to find those shots, just barely clipping him through the grass. I don't know why Ralph would have wanted that angle in the first place. Like, where do you go from there? I think your only option was to wrap west.
Yeah. For Fireflux, it was awkward as well. The supplies were running so low. He had no shells left for that. So when he drops, couldn't fire out smoke to shroud himself. Both of them now go down. You're out of commission, leaves us with a final 3. Koa barely crawling into the zone, belly on the ground, looking for the angle towards Kenotrope. Oh, the timing!
So exposed. He can take this shack though and play in it. I hope he gets a second. There's a player on his right though, and he does not know.
Ragnar with the angle, nade over the backside, shots at the feet, so low on HP. 1 bullet and a dream is all that he'd need. The peek back up. Oh, the knock on the Ragnar fragments Power, but they've still got the manpower advantage on this one, and it's down to Falcons with just Koa. Peek over the top side, spots the head of Easy, shrouded with the smokes, but bullets coming in from 3 separate angles.
This is a nightmare scenario. Just has to guess the angles. We'll just send back. I mean, well played to Koa. Again, it seems like the player on that team that sort of has his head screwed on a little bit. I don't understand that push from Ralph. I don't know why he'd want that position from Fireflux. Again, he just try and wrap on top of Power. It's an interesting one, Jackie. But again, Falcons do get themselves a second place. I love that they push that position. A lot of times they just won't take those opportunities when they're right in front of them. And this time at least they picked up the leaflet.
Yeah, they bit at it when it was provided. It might not have been as clean as they were hoping for, But I tell you what, for Power, they were mopping up squads like a spilt drink. Some fantastic action on that one. A great second game, an early chicken dinner, and looking more like the Power that we know and love.
It is about time there for Power as well to start pushing those numbers upwards. It was good play, very well played. Obviously, sweeping on that western side was really nice. Heading up that top side, it's an unfortunate game for Narvalo. I think we've had plenty of moments there where Narvalo has gone down a little bit early. Not necessarily his fault, just a struggle on the rotation. In the meantime, we're going to head right over and rotate back to the desk after this short break.
I'm currently here with Team Gamex ahead of our survival stage. I have to ask you, why do you think it was that the group stage performance was a little bit of a struggle for you boys?
Because it's like our first international tournament. Even we have like one player, it's first his tournament ever, LAN tournament. So we struggled, like we need more experience, just time. We need more time, and I think we had it for the first 2 days on group stage.
And how have you boys been supporting him, you know, with it being his very first LAN?
It's the same game, not changing. Like if we play in online or LAN, it's like the same game, same tactics, just different team, like more powerful than our Legion, but still we can do it.
And speaking a little bit more about the performance that you had, there was a distinct lack of eliminations throughout a lot of the games. Talk to me about the game plan heading into survival stage. Can we possibly see more aggression coming through from you?
In survival stage, I don't think we're gonna play aggressive for this stage. As a team, I think we will play by the way who make us win only.
And obviously, my last question for you boys. You headed into this entire event having won the National Egypt Championship. Do you think the play style of all of these international teams is much different?
Exactly, too much different because like national championship is way different with international because like we have 14 national and then BMSL and then PMWC, so it's a long way to get here.
Would you say that the competition here at EWC is way more difficult than the national?
Yeah, exactly, than ever national region.
All right, well, best of luck to you boys. I'm hoping to see more fight coming out of you, and we'll see you in the survival stage. Thanks.
Well, we have Power overwhelming here at PMWC as Power's been able to take the first match on the grassy pastures of Erangel. Joining me, Seven, as well as Maxman. Seven's loving it. He loves that Power's been able to take this one. Talk to me about Power.
I was just happy to see them play like how when we would just tell them, good job. We were watching PMSL Mina. And the reason why I said that is because they would end up third-partying quite a lot. You know, don't worry. I'll break it down for you. 12 eliminations out of this team, but they were just being a lot more proactive. They were third-partying fights. They were making sure that they got a lot of ground. At one point, they were having a 1-1-2 split, which was quite impressive. And then, I mean, at the end, the way that they were able to play that perfectly, just waiting until the last second, sending 2 players towards the south, maintaining 1 player there towards the top of the hill, that was the winning play.
All the teams in this game were pretty much in the field like, please, sir, can we have a good position? Power, no, this is our mountain. You're not going up here. And actually, because of that, they kind of push away E-Arena. They eliminate that team onto the western side, and they avoid Alpha 7 from claiming the high ground position pretty much this entire game. So they were very, very controlling on that little high ground position up northwest. So Power, they had a really good setup on their second day of the group stage, and it seems like we are seeing a bit of a continuation of that here in the survival.
Another strong fight back from Fireflux as well, coming in as the only team really from the east. I thought maybe we could have a bit more of a 2-2 split going on for them. The 4 in that one location seems a bit much, Max, and it did cost them some casualties.
Well, unfortunately, you've got a lot of teams around you. You have Nonstrom, you have Falcons looking your way. One little hay bale is just not going to cut it, defensively speaking, and you're just going to be losing players. So it didn't work out for them. It's unfortunate, good entry point, but the circle is just forcing you in a bad spot that you can't defend properly.
And it didn't help them that they were just focusing so much on the fight happening between Kino and then Alpha 7. They didn't even realize what was happening towards the south of them. Zero scouting. It ends up hurting them.
Let's take a look at the match report overall here for this one, as Mr. Joker here getting himself 6 eliminations. Catch though, that's actually quite impressive damage from coming in from the fields, Max, considering that you're really trying to bunker down, really not draw too much attention about yourself. So that's very well done.
They were trying to play it silent until Power got involved, because they got in that one building on the high ground position of that big plateau up north, and they were just getting naded to hell by all of Power. Like I think the Power were just out of utility after that fight. They just looted the crates of the arena. They were really struggling at that point.
One team though that did have a potential semblance of control.
Oh no!
Do you want me to bring up Falcons?
We can talk about Falcons all day.
Should we?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's look at this. We don't push 1 by 1 normally, and what are Falcons doing? 2 solo drive-bys right next to Fireflux to instantly punish it. This is literally, you use this as an example of how not to do a push. And Falcons, unfortunately, a team that we expect to do well, just not able to claim that control. That could have been a game-winning angle if they got it too.
It really would have been. And I think what keeps hurting this team is just losing Narvalo so early on. Once again, back-to-back games where they end up losing Narvalo, and they're kind of forced to do this kind of pushes. They're maybe not expecting it. It is a dumb push. Something that we're not used to out of this team, but then you're going to have to readjust. Luckily for them, Koa did decide to stay in the back and very proactive, showing why he was the MVP for PMSL EU.
I actually think if that fight, even if they do beat Fireflux, I think the car keeps going in the blue zone. So I think it was like his phase. say, I think they still go out, even if they win it. So that was a bit of an odd one. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stop.
Yeah, fair. A difficult, though, finish for some of those teams in the fields. Obviously, as you say, Power, though, flexing down to the bottom to establish even more control. We were musing over the idea of whoever's going to win out these hill fights from that west side should have a good opportunity here to be able to get themselves big points on the board.
Well, at one point, we even saw Alpha 7 when they were being a little bit passive there towards the edge play. We're okay, let's see where you're going to be going, right? Are you going to be going towards the north? Are you going to be maybe fighting Power? Are you going to be waiting for a third-party situation? And no, they just end up deciding to fully send it with 2 players towards the middle. It didn't end up working out them. For a split second, Max, though, we saw the hovercraft. We're like, maybe? But it didn't end up working.
The hovercraft in the field finish is like
pretty good.
It's a gift from the gods. Okay,
Yeah.
just have, especially when it's exploded. It's just a fortress you created at that point. I actually played a game of Ultimate Royale. I had 4. we had 4 hovercrafts, and you just like make a little building. And you just
Ridiculous.
Did you win?
Yeah, no.
All right, well,
we got
never mind.
Well, we have a lot going on here, not only the PMWC, but also we have the PUBG Mobile Airdrop Carnival, and it is live this weekend from August the 1st to the 3rd. Log in, summon surprise airdrops, and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers to enter prize draws for official merchandise, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win. Additionally, jump in game now and vote for your favorite airdrop partner. You might even score some awesome surprise gifts from them, which is very lovely. Don't miss this year's Airdrop Carnival and unbox your lovely surprises, Mr. 7. What do you think about that?
I've done it.
You've done it? You're on? You're good to go?
I'm not going to say what I got. Max?
Ooh.
I haven't done it yet. Actually, I've done my in-game predictions.
You've
That's
been
it.
busy. You're here at PMWC.
Yeah, true.
All
I
right.
thought you were unboxing surprises last night. Oh, man.
Shush you. It's time to get to the game here at the Erangel once again. Game number 3 for the survival stage. Let's head to the casters.
That's right. Oh, man. You caught me off guard.
Oh!
Hello.
Shut up, you!
All right, my bad.
Shut up, James. We're going to unbox this game right now.
Okay, he's just gone for it.
I'll try to give you one of these.
I didn't see that.
Oh, I try to do the... So, for clarification, try to give the old...
He's waved a hand at
the old,
me.
the old
He's given one of
Matrix.
these.
I'll
Yeah,
give
he's
the
given
old
one of these.
Matrix, yeah.
Let's do it together. Are you ready for game 3?
On.
Well, I was going to go for of, but you've kind of, you've gone the wrong way there. Yeah, but you've gone for the wrong word.
You've got to deal with that.
Well, look, you've gone for the wrong word, and that's fine. We'll let you off. Everyone shame blank in the chat.
Was there a script I was meant to follow?
You not follow the script?
I don't have one.
Well, you should have.
I'll wing it. Much like the player.
Silly boy. Action's pretty good. It's 2 wings.
It is. A double winger. That's me and you right there. On either side. Double propellers. On either arm. But yeah, we're heading over to match number 3. I am...
You tangled.
Tangled, dude.
Untangled.
I've untangled
Okay,
myself.
good.
Teams are going to have to untangle themselves from this awkward playing path, which is a straight line, but the drops are not easy. You're going to get a little bit lost in the forest of the drop.
It's quite a windy day.
It is. Getting blown all over the place. In the meantime, a lot of teams will have to send far, far north here, or as north as they can get on this particular plane path, and it will change some of these drops up a little bit. Started expecting Kinotrope to maybe try and hot drop over towards the Falcons, but they're going to head down towards Ferry Pier, which I think is, that's open, so that's fine. They could take that. It's your turn now.
Wow, it seems like you want to do all the talking.
Hey.
Just wondered if you keep going.
No, bro. I'm done.
It's all right. We do a little back and forth here. We're trying out a new stand-up comedy routine. Let us know if that landed. Otherwise, we'll just do normal intros for tomorrow.
I tried to make it very clear. I didn't make it very, very clear.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with myself.
Well, that's fair.
A little bit of introspection
But
is
The
good.
Rock doesn't give a damn about what you've got to say, because I'm all about the gameplay. And that's what we're here for, Blank. Now you talk. Now you talk.
Can I
That's
speak
you.
now?
Now you talk.
My turn. Woo! Back on the mic
Dropped a
again.
woo.
It's my turn.
A woo.
It's amazing.
Give us some gravitas.
I'm quite gravitas.
Yeah.
Woo!
There you go.
Would you like that? Was that good?
Surely that's got everyone hyped up, right?
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah.
I've hyped myself up.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. You'd need to.
Look at this. You know, we got a little bit of introspection. You got to hype yourself up, get yourself into it. This is the advice I would give to all these teams.
Ironically, that actually is a pretty good summary of the sort of mindset you need to be going into. Halfway point of the day, right? You've got to try and get those jitters out of you, forget about what's happened in some of the games for the rough starts for a few teams. Try and keep that momentum building. For a few of our squads, they certainly have been able to pinpoint that momentum. For Power here, looks like we're thrown into an opening bout, though, instantly versus Influence Rage.
And the Rage of Easy, the last day of group, certainly influenced them here. They've turned into some absolute monstrous opponents. Currently second place. Oh, that is a beautiful jump.
Hell of a jump on that.
Look how serious he looked as well.
Oh yeah, you've got to be focused up. This is horse gameplay. That's what we're bringing to you live.
Through the fields of Erangel. Straight hoofing it.
A glorious gallop. The Stallion. Power Gaming.
Ragnar in the front lines, charging back to his team to assist.
That is not a trot. It is an all-out sprint for domination.
He's coming.
He stopped.
Oh, he's too late.
Yeah, he might have needed to be a bit quicker on the horse rotate. It's not really worked. Influence Rage are able to fight back and take down one of Power.
Oh, Vahidon's in a bad spot now. There were some shots from the sidelines coming through, but Vahidon's all on his own. Just got the Pumpy up top side. Ooh. And he takes a disgusting tag as he drops.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Mac 10 Madness up close. SMG slaps him upside the head. Ragnar from the top side, though, does start to show what he's made of. Bullets down range. Fragments, Influence Rage once again. Lil Boy got to make the move. Drop the smoke, see if he can get his teammate up. Nade from Easy. Ooh, only one, though.
We know that he's a bad boy when it comes to it. Let's see if he can hit this one. It will be very influential. Goes through and bounces. Easy. After the M16. Ragnar's just sending it, dude.
He's going in. Close on the doorway, ready for it.
He was late to the party. Everyone's already left, but he's determined to keep the music pumping.
He just dives into action. 17 bullets in the clip. SMG. There's the secondary if he needs it. Pull out the UMP. Yeah, you know me. Ragnar about to make some crime scenes on the dive-by. Lil Boy down and out. Not the big man in this situation, but the turnaround for Ragnar. Feel his wrath.
Pulls out the 4 bullet. That's all he needs. Nade goes through. Ragnar dives out the way, but somehow on the stairs still takes the tag. Diego will find one. And we are in a 1v1 between Easy and Diego topside, but in comes another team. It is intense game.
As everyone starts to cheer Ragnar's name, intense game, drop the shush, the silence over the fight in the compound. Diego tucked in, trying to play on the back foot. Easy. About to be hit with a heavy nade up close and personal, just a desk to provide cover.
Playing it safe, Molotov in. Have to climb this one or just fully take the brunt. Walks out the way. No one's seen him just yet. Gets the tag. We'll find the knock, but it's not enough with Silence, who will silence the party here. The boombox thrown out the window. Diego in a tough scenario now for Influence Rage. Power will take the #1 spot, but for how long? Only 1 point ahead of Fire Flux, but they have had a good run today so far.
For Diego, you are sweating bullets right now. Off-angle peek on the side, couple shots connect, but Silence does not give a damn. Spams the shots into the loot crate, adds insult to injury. An intense game, make out with the cleanup crew plays on the fight from Influence Rage and Power.
Themselves a 3 for 3. Kind of a wild step down, by the way, now I'm looking at it. Alpha 7 in 6th with just the 11 points. That drops down to 9 in 7th. We're in just single digits all the way through to 16th. AX with a big fat goose egg.
Gamak's got a bail with his fajita that hop behind the wheel. Terrified about having a bike taken out of him as Squash was looking for the setup with the trace. Able to limp out of there with his lives behind the steering wheel.
We're in pretty central. This is actually one of the more fair circles we've seen in quite a while here, Jackie. Regnum Kaya leaving Toshpik behind over towards Rozok just in case it does back up that way. And for Regnum Kaya currently in 9th place with just the 8 points. It's not been an ideal result, but heading back up over towards Rozok. This is a good opportunity for them. Team that we put a lot of potential in. Potentially this is the game to do it. We'll have Horror Esports wrapping up on that north side. Does Loxy go down here? Because they are just rocking straight up towards him. And it will be Wild to take the first. And that's the Kino trope of all teams.
Regnum Kari as well, taking hefty blows here. When you're down to 2 players, it's an awkward firefight between them. You're getting crashed on from either side with Kino Trope and AX. Diving into action off the back of the punch. Henry firing out bullets with the Scar, ripping people to pieces. Devotee locking down the wide sight lines up front as well.
2 points accrued. That 0 pointer completely gone. It's not the case no more. No way you're Molotov. Fucking silence in the corner. Put on for barbecue. Unnecessary. But tasty. They'll take that point.
Ozzy Sands barbecue opening soon. Pre-order your tickets for the grand launch.
We got turkey on the menu. Kino Trope. 2 players up. Falcons off in the distance there. I think for Regnum Kaya, if I'm looking at it objectively, I think what happened there is that they've had a couple of games in the past. Ooh, nice nade, Devotee. A couple of games in the past where they've left Rozok and it's come back to bite them later on. So they tried to take this 2-2 split. When you get this circle shift back this way, there is going to be a lot of teams flowing through this area, right? They want to play the 2 rows. They want to play the warehouses. I think it was a dangerous split and they had to make a quick decision of whether they want to stay on Rozok or they wanted to regroup here. But they didn't have the time to make it happen. Ozi-san, final player left remaining. 1 Molotov remaining. We know that he can be nasty with it. It's gone.
Made for the window. Wow. Meaty damage onto both. Able to withstand the shrapnel and at least stay alive for now. Arian setting up on the sideline behind the rock as well, trying to get a read onto Ozi-san.
This is getting awkward now. Falcons do peek their heads out of Pachinki as this one moves further away. Loot drop coming through. We get to take a look at the map and where we're heading next. This has been very central. Not so much anymore. Heads up over towards Rozok and Regnum Kaya. Oh, fuming, dude. Absolutely fuming. This has happened so many times to them throughout their tournament history this year. Oh, man. I actually feel bad for them on that one.
Shot back over from Sleepy as well onto Fireflux, having a great day of it. It's a catching a bullet, and not in the manner that you would want to.
Hey, this is nice, actually. In the midst of all of it, Falcons able to find themselves a spot. Mafioso, perfect parking. That's going to lock down the doorway. Primed.
Reinventing the meaning of parallel parking on that one.
Vertical.
Oh, yeah. Straight up, ready to climb, and that's what they're going to be looking for. Alpha 7 going to want to find some points on this one.
Well, how Ozzy Sands made it in there, but he has. The solo. This is Falcons' favorite spot, by the way. They love playing this position. My only issue with it is that the 3-story sometimes gets pushed a little bit too hard, and I don't think that the Falcons quite have a solution for it yet. I'd like to see how they play it out this game, because they have a huge amount of potential from this position. Nice high ground to work with, nice vision, claiming 2 buildings as well, and able to play off the back of one another with nades from that top side. If it continues to zone in on that area, you've got a good chance at that game. Alpha 7 looking for more points on this one, currently in the top 8, but they want to secure it a little bit more.
Get the little establishing shot as well, top-down POV, giving you an understanding of just how close these squads are to one another.
Ooh, yawn. Yeah, replay on this one. Dude, it was cinematic. It was cinematic.
Nearly made it through the window.
Did. Squeezed it through. Like a TARDIS. The window, that is. Bigger than you think.
Yeah.
It's bigger on the inside.
On the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's smaller on the inside, it'd be a bit of a shame.
It'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I went to my TARDIS. It's a closet.
Yeah. Where's all the space?
This is a high-tech machinery.
Budget cuts. We couldn't have all the space on the inside.
That would be a weird parallax effect. I'm not going to lie to you. Smile. Taking some shots out the window for Yangon. One of their top players towards that group stage, just putting a huge amount of work in. There is some games where Yangon's able to get quite a few points. Usually they do limp in towards those final circles though. This is hella awkward for Falcons as we send over towards that eastern side. Now Gamax might have played a blinder on this one accidentally. Obviously you don't know where the circle's going to go, but that's actually a really nice place to play and gives you a huge amount of control. Now Falcons is at the back of the queue. Fantastic compound a minute ago, not so much anymore. Horror's quite glad, despite being one of the first to this location, they didn't fully commit, and they didn't have to. They had the option to play on this eastern side, and they'll get a lot of benefit off the back of that.
Oh, gets worse for Eknkari as well, of course. Been trapped as just a duo for so long. Alpha 7 able to get the sight lines over, so we'll commit onto that with Toshpik being knocked down on his last legs. Loxy not really in a spot to quickly make the dash to grab him just yet. Nades over the top. Got the smokes on the bottom of the ground at least to try and provide some semblance of cover here.
For a team that starts in Rozoc, they're pretty rubbish at it. Thoughts?
Just going to let that one ruminate, really. I just thought I'd let that air for a bit.
I don't think that they're bad at it. I think it's just indecision, dude.
Sorry, are you moving further away? Is that backtracking?
I am backpedaling. Yeah, I am backpedaling. No, I think that it's not a case they're bad at it. It's indecision. If I'm being real, it's indecision.
Fair enough. I think that's also what we have seen a couple of times already, where it feels like the split on the instant decisions where they need to go for something that hasn't really been there, especially today, where it's felt almost like the pressure of the situation has been getting to them more.
Yeah, it's like we should move. We can't just sit in our drop spot and you get on with almost this hyperactivity where we've got to take a 2-2 split or something. Surely it's not going back over to Rozoc again. But no, unfortunate. I think that is the difficulty for a team that starts in Rozoc, is that you kind of want to make some kind of a play early. You don't want to just sit around forever. Cole's already found the 2 elims though, which is nice. Settling Falcons in a firm 3rd spot on the tables. I genuinely do think that those games that they've just come off the back of were very important. I think you put it well, you're saying that they're quite passive games. They were just trying to get into that top 8. And it's so funny because when Falcons start playing like this, we just need these points, we can play it cool. If we don't need anything drastic here, their gameplay goes up by a high margin.
Yeah, you can see the percentage play is what they go for, right? If it's not over 90%, it's really worth running the risk. Yeah, we're seeing it actually work for them. Devotee with a connection back over onto Never Alone as he's tried to make the dash there for Vision. To join the rest of the squad up towards the compound side, so a bit of a split, 1-3 on them, having to try and link back up. It's Volt that's a key piece of this team as well.
Yeah. One thing I really do like about AX is that whenever you look at the player cams, they're always speaking to one another.
Oh,
always
look good, dude. Yeah.
They're not the best team in this lobby. I mean, that is clear, right?
Yeah.
But they are giving it their all. It comes back to Rozok. Gamax also quite unhappy with this one. We've had East hard shift to West hard shift. Man, if Regnum Kai just sat still, you know, could have been a very different game for them. Alpha 7 playing on that south side. Still at 4 players as well, and I think it's a good position to play. You don't have to worry about a lot of the major action happening on that north side. You can sit pretty down towards the south. Yes, you don't have the high ground, but there is less teams to contend with.
The POV of Yangon Galacticos as well, a team that I think at times it's been a little bit too slow for me from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And it worries me, really, especially in these kind of lobbies now.
Not feeling very Galacticos, you know?
No.
Not very Higgs boson. They don't encompass everywhere. Here comes Yangon. It's too little too late, though. I mean, it's crazy. We're going for the same crash.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, a bit off target.
Yeah, a little bit. Paranoid about the top floor, but it's the ground floor split as well.
Yeah, thanks to the elims, I guess.
That was a delivery. And Alpha 7 will take it. You can get the pick back up as well. Squash playing medic instantly, so they're fine. They can reset from it.
I like that, though, from them. I mean, wow, I had his head ripped off. But yeah, I like that they instantly start shooting. Straight after that concludes, stopping teams from wanting to peek in. Or, in fact, even inviting some teams. The Mafioso's on that angle the entire time. Arthur moves up, somehow finds Marth with that nade. I think he must have just been slightly out of the angle. Nade behind, and Prestige is sat in an awkward spot, finds the first. Will try and get back through the window. Don't know how he's not down yet. The rest of R8 not in a position to assist as Damar gets the med kit off. But both his teammates are away with it.
Tries to ricochet the nade with the geometry there of the building. Doesn't quite land on target. So they get ample time to deal with the fragmented players from R8. And Damar really just trapped on the push up here.
Curious what this play from Sleepy is. I think he's just trying to identify some little bit of information. R8 goes down. Again, it's been a rough spree for R8 today. APK. Let's get hit with a nade. That's from Nongshin Red Force, who did work their way up, and they have picked their moment quite nicely, and in comes more and more nades, but it is Horror actually picking up a couple of these shots from a hell of a distance.
They're substantially far away, but still making it work. It's interesting as well, Nongshin Red Force, as much as they haven't really been on the forefront of the observing in this game, they're still being able to steal away points a little bit here and there with some of the rotates we've seen. This is one where they line up, top heavy angle for Doxy, unloads the magazine, detonates his way through. Sigamax trapped in position. Paranoia inside the building, but Tizzy able to compose himself and find that one onto Fajita.
It's quick. G from Nongshin Red Force is very quick. They should rack themselves up to 6 elims on this one. Again, they started off really strong on their day 3. All right, last day of the group stage. And it was the way that Max put it, right? They were slipping.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to put it. They were slipping. Pressure mounted a little bit too much for them. And they couldn't keep up the gas towards the end of the day. They've gone away from it. I think they looked visibly upset with themselves as well on day 3. You could only feel bad for them.
Yeah, you saw some of the individuals, really not sort of turning any cheek to show their emotion. If they had a bad game, it was very obvious. But, I mean, it felt like they did at least kind of unpack the bag with it. So, it was a rough game. They were able to reset. You didn't carry those emotions on.
Dude, there was a big solve in that last day for them.
Yeah.
Right? There was a big solve on their gameplay, how they wanted to work these things out. And I like that. I did like that from them. Figured out their gameplay. They're going to bring that into survival stage. It wasn't like they didn't gain anything from that day 3. Tizzy finding yet another with Volt on a long angle from Mansion.
Oh, baited out for the fight, and it's a sideline shot coming back in from Sky.
He has been influential on the map.
Yeah.
Like some really good shots from the M4.
Sky and No Fear, racking them up and knocking them down. You like the heads-up positioning of the crosshair as well. It's a great lead on this. Distance fights where they are just absolutely paralyzing. Just no way to move up. Good clean-up crew action over onto Vision. That was Volt as the last man. He's now gone.
And it's actually, to be honest with you, that early rotate out from Sleepy was quite nice. They got a lot of information off the back of that. They knew which angles to watch. They didn't have to move out from the eastern side of Rosok, but they do it anyway just to pick up some free elims and clear out the eastern side. That's their big goal there. Now they can start to work the issue over towards the west.
This is a classic fight. Feels like AX and Nunshin Red Force have been thrown into a hell in a cell again and again. These two teams have been scrapping throughout the entire tournament in group stage and again here in survival stage. Delayed bout on this one. Nades over the top. Arian trying to keep them pinned in position. Tizzy with the nade back over. Binny relatively low as well. Has to top himself back up.
Nade after nade. That looks like a better air burst in my opinion, but Cyrax does take a lot of damage. Thunder Strike from the air there. In the meantime, Horror moves up over towards Fireflux. They find Solus as a solo in one of the buildings. Unresable right now. It's hard to get yourself across to him, and he should just bleed out on this one.
Close quarters, nades. You've got to tuck him with a shotty. Good tag. Sizzy quite low. P90 up close. Henry inside of the smoke with the shotty.
Find it one another. Function Red Force. Very much cut domination from Henry's side of the ring. Another good nade coming through from Horror. They are working the angle.
Oh, a prime nade from Zizzy. Right on target. Fragments the setup from AX. Henry has to make a hero maneuver on this one. Wraps up close. Molly over the top, smoke up front to provide some sort of cover for his teammate, but Tizzy peeks in from the top, struggling to get the quick reposition off and switch to the right gun for the job. Couldn't handle it. Cyrax in the back line now, spamming through the smoke, but it goes both ways. Not much vision to work off on this.
Oh, hello. This is a cool rotate coming through from Falcons. They wrapped all the way from that north side. They left one player behind. Redox takes out one, and they're looking to clear up Nongshim Red Force on this third party. This is way more aggressive from the Falcons. They start to flap their wings a little bit.
Turning up the tempo, and it's what you want to see. We were saying they've been playing smart, passive games, looking for placements. But mixing in a good score on eliminations as well would be huge for their momentum. The bonnet hits the face of Tizzy, and they look to end the opportunity.
Roll him down on the reverse.
More elims on this. Up close, Raf takes a bit of damage from the peak, but they do handle it. Koa spots that one with a UMP, and you stop Nongshim Red Force that were building a huge elimination game. 10 already. They're taken out of commitment. Second closest, of course, is now Falcons with 7.
I mean, this is great, though, for the Falcons, because now they have control over towards the south side of Rozok. They also have Redox still holding that building on the northwest side. He holds his own. It's the first time we've seen a solo Falcon being able to do that. And that's really cool, because now they have a lot of presence on the map here. Needs be, they can wrap back round again. It's going to be a little bit awkward versus the arena, but it is possible. So they have 2 corners of the map, so they can confirm on either side. The worst thing to happen here if it confirms fully northeast. That's the one thing they haven't accounted for.
Arena and Alpha 7 as well, obviously in position for so long here down towards the compounds. A lot of nades being primed here.
They're ready for a crash, that's why. They know E Arena has to come across. They've heard the fighting on the south side as well. They're just priming them. That's a terrifying sight, by the way. 4 dudes, pin pulled. Not a party I'm looking to get involved with.
The mortar strike of Alpha 7 ready if you come running up towards the compound. Of course, you've got that 2-2 split as well. Toxic and Loxy inside of the buildings. Cover to work with. Shots into the back line. Hora moving up. Fireflux starting to reposition as well. That's the duo that's left alive here. They've had a great day of it so far.
Some good smokes from Falcons, but there is a lot of sightlines to contend with. Koa's up first and will get knocked. Revo's got 5 nades, so plenty here. Ascend over the top side. I think the Falcons are going to find this tough, honestly. Stop short. That's a good stop as well. They know the smokes haven't dissipated yet, so they can afford to stop short. There is a shot that goes through there as Arena sees that Alpha 7 is distracted.
Oh, here's the problem though. It's not just nades from Alpha 7. Now they're coming in from Hora as well, down on the roadside. Now Valo is eating a ton of damage. Ralph's forced to push further up to actually get himself into cover to play with. So both barrels being given here.
Alpha 7 losing Revo. Squash just gets back up again. Tony K drops a nade, but it's long. They're in the kitchen. And needs to cook this nade to perfection. Ralph finding Revo, steals that one away, but it's Toshpik to take him out. It's all down to Redox. 6 teams, last circle.
Korea firing off the shots in close range. Holds back Arena. Only Mormon remains. They split on the push-up, hoping they could get in before the pick-me-up. Onto Squash. Didn't go that way. Comes back to haunt them.
Valo's still up, actually. Didn't even realize it. And he's going to try and get placement here. There's potential for it as well as everyone starts to get cut out on that northern side. Now Valo walking up. This is a bold maneuver. Surprised he's even getting in here. Finds one off the back of it. Mafioso's down. Mormon's still sending nades in.
Mormon on the slow walk up. Pin pulled for the nade. Bounce round the corner. Squash gets flattened. Mormon makes the play. Potential for the follow-up as well. Close quarters combat. Carrillo trying to hold on for Alpha 7. Able to connect that back. Silence Arena, but now Novello knows that he can make his move. Gets up close with the DBS. Oh! Huge kill. That is a beautiful E-limp to put them back into a position. He can get Squash back up.
Wait a minute. Regnum Kaya still going strong with Loxy. Hitting these shots here. It might not be end of the world after all. Carrillo has to send a nade over. It's not perfect, but now he's got to make the cross.
Carrillo going for it.
No way, Loxy.
Taking opportunities where they're presented. Regnum Karia being able to play this one picture perfect with the opportunities that have been presented by other teams. Everyone's overlooked them. Sideline from No Fear, living up to his name as he pops up. Silences Loxy. There's the shot back over. And that's the way it goes.
Hora played that game incredibly well. From the early rotate into the eastern side to push out slightly further over towards Gamax, spotting all the commotion over towards Nongshim Red Force and cutting away at their opposition on the eastern edge. But shout out to Loxy. I did not think the Regnum guy would survive that long. And you do want Loxy as your final player on that team when it comes to those clutch moments.
Heads up calls. Reading it so well as well. Opportunities when everyone's attention was taken away from them. Like you said, subverting expectations. It was a brutal beginning for them. But they put it together. They pieced away some points at the very least.
For Alpha 7, what a tough task they had there versus E-Arena, Falcons on one side. Not an easy maneuver to make happen. Carrillo does survive it all. Could have been pretty sick if Narvalo hit that shot, but looks a lot better from the Falcons.
It certainly does. They're building. The wings have been spread, but the action is intense. So join us for more after the break.
Pulsar Legionnaire available now. First outfit with special head animations and voice lines. The Pulsar Legionnaire set comes with its own super cute voice lines that can be toggled on or off.
What happened? Bye, friend. Hello, Earth. I'm here.
It also features the upgradable Hyperion ship DSR and Jet Reaver glider with special animations. Experience parachuting like never before. That's not all. Even more rewards await. Event period, July 25th, 2025 through August 26th, 2025. What are you waiting for? Get the new Guild set now.
Well, no swimming required for Horror here. They had the perfect compound to transition into Rozhok, getting themselves that win here, as we have got them win game number 3 on the board. Brilliant stuff by them. Joining me, Neptura, as well as Seven, to talk about this victory from them. Neptura, this was all them sweeping through Rozhok, looking fantastic.
As usual, as I would expect from a team of this caliber. Hora, I have always talked about Hora. I like them a lot. I like how they play. They played it basically how I would normally expect them to. They had a really good compound, as we were talking about. We saw them sweep that edge and just wait until the perfect time to strike. Once that strike was there, they went for it.
And what I really enjoyed even before that, it was the 2-2 split that they were holding towards the east of this circle. They had an opportunity to actually third-party a fight. I think it was Non-Shim Ramforce versus Gamax. They decided not to do that and just prioritize their game style. It worked out wonders for them, 19 points. And if we keep going down the list, I mean, it's good to see some of these names here at the top, Kyle. You got Alpha 7 with 13 points and Team Falcon as well there with 12.
They did something. No, I mean, of course, it's very
They did, though. It's talking about teams that did something. Is that AXTMG? 5 points, they got points.
Yes!
Woo!
The first 2 games, they got nothing. So we were hoping for a little bit of a step up from them, of course, here. And this is definitely a bit of a step up here, Neptura.
It is. I actually really liked how they played the south side as well, right? They had a really nice split. They kept things going, but they didn't get too far out of bounds, right? They kept it together and held it, and they did a really good job here.
And even before they ended up going towards the south there of Rozhok on the mountain, between the school area, I really enjoy what the third party that they ended up doing between Regnum Karya and Kino. That was perfect, and it showed that this team is now starting to be proactive. They're not just waiting and being too patient, which is ultimately what you want to see out of a team that's now experiencing a global event once again.
All right, are we going to talk about Falcons again? Because,
yes.
There's some really cool things actually happening, Seven, of course. The rotations were amazing initially, I want to say. What do you think?
I mean, this right here, I felt like, and you kind of said it too, you said that this might have been the rotation of the tournament so far. I would definitely have to agree with that. I love that they did a 3-1 split too. They adjusted a little bit of what they were able to do in the last game, except this time they actually sent more players that could actually eliminate the rest of the squad. Great third party, but even before that, I enjoyed what they did towards the north of Rozhok, Neptura, because they were just controlling everything. They weren't letting anybody get close by.
And what I'm really enjoying from them as well is that they're learning from the group stage. They're not doing too much. They find a compound that they like. They make sure they hold that compound, and then there's no risk of them actually getting taken apart unless there's a full-on crash right against them. But so far, they're actually keeping to themselves, keeping together, and saving themselves for that late game.
Yeah, and if I had to nitpick there on this last match for Team Falcons, it would be the execution there towards the end. They did have a great rotation, but when it came down to it, they were just sending one player by one. They sent in Ko up first, hoping that he'll be able to do something, and then they just stopped in an area that you were just going to get grenaded. Max was calling it out too. I got a chance to see it. At that point, just go for a full crash.
Yeah.
I mean, you've left one north, right? I get why they might want to do something like this, not only hunting down those limbs, Neptura, but also negating the problem in Rozhok finish that is the road, because that's such a huge problem for these teams.
Yeah, it is a huge problem, and I really actually like the 1-3 split, as we were saying, right? Because it would allow them to have this pincer move going on. But I think maybe the way the zone was working or something, those 3 players on the south rotated down towards A7. They should have maybe gone onto the other side so they could do a pincer move with Redux on the north. And it just didn't work out that way, so it was a 1v1, 1-by-1.
Well, let's head down to Barney now as he is ready with Falcons to see what they think after some of these games.
Welcome back to the main stage. I've got Koa from Team Falcons joining me here. And I tell you what, the consistency seems like it's back, Koa, because you've had 3 matches so far. All 3 have been in the top 5, 2 second places as well. What changed from the group stage to now on the survival stage? Because you guys, it feels like you're back.
Yeah, so we had the meetings, we talked about our mistakes, and we fixed them.
Simple. Okay, that's simple and effective. You know what, Koa? I want to talk about you individually as a player because your impact since joining this team has been incredible. You've been MVP in the PMSL season, and now you've come here and you're clutching up in highly intense moments, I would say. How do you feel like you've gelled with the team, and why do you feel like it works so well?
I think it works because the team have some structure, and then my job is only to take the kills.
Your job is to go out there and farm the kills. And what's happening now? So coming into the next 3 matches, are you guys just going to keep the strategies the same? Because it seems like it's working.
Yep, we're going to keep all the same.
Koa, I like interviewing you, man. You're simple, you're to the point. I love it. Back to you guys.
Well, Barney's right. A very important place for Falcons, of course, to do well here. Live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for PUBG Mobile World Cup. We can take a look at a moment or two here from Falcons as well, because they've really been a focal point here so far, Seven. Kind of understandably in some moments.
I mean, let's even rewind it a little bit more. You got Alpha 7 being able to take control of this area, and I feel like for them, that was able to clutch about so many points. And then you got Yangon trying to send it, but Alpha 7 was ready. Just cars flying everywhere.
Yeah. And of course, the teams have to try and come in behind that and try and deal with what on earth is going on all over there. But let's talk about some of these other teams, of course, here, Neptura, because Nongshim Red Force, of course, as well in this game. They found themselves in a bit of the nitty-gritty and trying to get them. They've got themselves some points on for sure on the board, as we'll take a look at the overalls. But what do you think about Nongshim?
They're almost there. They're almost where I want them to be, because you saw them come in against, who was it? Gamex and R8. They came in, had a really nice third party, really nice push onto Gamex, really good. Then they kind of split apart when they were trying to fight against AX Team AG. So for me, they're almost there, but we look over the overall rankings, and actually it's very close still, even though we've had different teams doing different things at different times.
It is, and I mean, look at the 8th place Ringnam Karya. With this matches too, I mean, we're going to have some gaps here and there, but those teams can definitely close it up with just one match. I'm pretty sure we'll end up going there towards the second page. Something that I actually wanted to touch base with Nongshim is I enjoyed that 3-1 split that they were doing earlier on. They did have a player kind of just holding it down with an arm, just making sure that they were scouting everything, which allowed that third party that you were talking about, Neb. I wish they would have actually went north. They wouldn't have needed to challenge Hora Esports. I did not appreciate the south rotation when they ended up crashing on AXTMG. I felt like that was maybe a losing play. If they would have just gone north, played that edge on the river, that might have been a winning play for that team to clutch up even more points.
We had our concerns about R8, I think, as well, Neptura.
Yeah, we did. I really liked how they played the north side, full control of the north side. If the zone had gone their way, they probably would have won, but they didn't, and they actually, instead of playing that same position that you were just talking about, Seven, they went ahead and crashed the compound, which seemed like just to stop any momentum they had built over the course of the game.
It was a concern.
Was.
I mean, hitting that compound when it's not even going to be a focal point of the circle as well, Seven, seems a little bit dubious, a little bit odd, a little bit
It just comes down to experience from some of these teams. I feel like that's what you narrow it down. The winning play for that team would have been going towards the Western Bridge and just holding that down there. But I think maybe the proactiveness of Team Falcons might have scared them off a little bit more. But for them, I mean, if that's what you're gonna go with, it didn't end up working out for them. Maybe they'll be able to fix it up going to the next games.
That said, always difficult in an urban ending like that, of course. The road obviously causes a big problem. You're seeing how reluctant teams are to try and move from building to building. And that was what was really impressive about Hora, their actual sweep from building to building in this game here, Neptura.
Yeah, it was. And again, you not only have the road in the middle, you actually have that road in between their compound and the rest of Rosov as well. So that's very open. I think Regnum Karya had those buildings on the other side. So it was something where they had to cross over, and you can only do that by a full sweep the way Hora did. If you stop at any point, it's game over.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Time to head over to the stage once again as the lovely Veracity and Mr. Barney Banks are ready to go as well.
Welcome back to the Gadia Esports Arena, where we are halfway through day one of the survival stage, and tensions are high. And of course, so is the passion. But I'm here to bring you all of the highlights that we've had so far in day one. And of course, day one, we kick things off on Sandhawk. Sandhawk was extremely strong map because two teams that came into a final showdown were Team Falcons and Fireflux Esports. Fireflux took that victory, and of course, some points along with it, 17 in total. But E-Arena managed to secure 9 eliminations. So an honourable mention goes to them. Are you still up there?
Barney, if these players can make it through survival stage, I can too. I've had the best view in the house right now, Barney, and let me tell you right now, match 2 was proof of the fact that the Falcons were able to spend their day off in the most fabulous fashion ever, Barney. Yeah, don't worry about that. I've been snacking away. The Falcons, they've been sharpening their talons, Barney, to say the very least. They soared their way to the very top of our standings. And not only that, they managed to walk away with eliminations left, right, and center. But unfortunately, Fireflux Esports began clipping away at their wings. Our final fight, though, it saw Power Esports taking down the lone survivor representing the Falcons, and that was Koa, marking the 3rd chicken dinner right here at this event for Power Esports.
Going into map number 3, Nongshim Red Force kicked things off extremely strong with 10 eliminations by stage 7 of that particular map. But in the end, it was Horror Esports that managed to clinch that victory and claim that chicken dinner for their own as well. So that's nice. A good amount of points for Horror Esports for us to see.
You know what, Barney? Enough chit-chat from us. I want to go ahead and dive into match number 4, baby. Let's do this.
Great to see Veracity finally getting down from the high ground. She was up there for a while, saw the banana peel, a whole bunch of candy. She was vegging out, but what else are you going to do when you're stuck on an island? Speaking of which, we're going into Erangel for map number 4, PMWC. It's been exciting today, truly, and the reason why his teams that didn't necessarily perform well during the group stage are really showing up in the survival stage. We've already witnessed Fireflux, right, get a victory, which was their first winner chicken dinner of the tournament. That includes their group stage performance. Now for Power, well, they sit at a total of 3, granted 1 for today, and then Ora showing up and getting a win in game number 3 and doing it in sensational fashion, which puts the pressure, John, on so many other wonderful teams. Falcons, Alpha 7, right? Those teams looking to make it up to the top.
Absolutely. There is this really interesting dynamic that unfolds, right, when you take the best 8 teams out, well, best, you know, for now,
that's right,
teams out of the lobby. It creates this vacuum, and that pulls in these teams from beneath them. It pushes them towards the top and creates a lot of turbulence. When you start to add those factors all together, it can get a little bit spicy, and that's what we've witnessed so far at the start of today. At the moment, we're looking at half the lobby going through to the finals at the end of these 2 days of the survival stage, and because of that, we're expecting the points boundary to be somewhere around that 70-point mark, and teams are starting to have achieved half of that already, and a lot of the teams towards the top actually already pushing over 30.
That's it. Over 30 is big, especially when you start to go down towards the bottom. We take a look at top 8 currently. 8th place, Regnum Caria, sitting with 16 points around there anyways. They're going to have to definitely step it up. They're on the bubble, at least at the moment. It's still early goings. 3 more games today, 6 more tomorrow to determine our top 8 and, of course, our bottom 8. But if you're Kinotrope, Tense Game, Influence, Rage, and, well, really the list goes on, you've got to be a little bit worried, but you can't be too much in your head. Again, there's still time, but time will eventually run out. Heading into Game 4, our last Erangel of the day. Before we hop into Miramar, it's going to be exciting. We've seen some great city finishes already as it stands. Now I'm hoping we get a little bit of the military zones.
That Key Crusher is hungry, and we have only one way to feed it. It's crunching through these survival stages, and we will be heading in to Erangel once more. All 64 of our players locked and hopefully loaded into the plane from Lipovka over towards the southwest side, over towards Quarry. The plane path fairly chilled out right now. Lovely little dog decal there on the back wing of the plane. He's having a great time. Not so much for our players on the inside, though.
Flying high, flying high. Okay, so plane path looks pretty good, pretty standard. Everybody who wants to go wherever they want to go pretty much has free reign to do so. Georgia Pool obviously going to see quite a bit of activity up there with Alpha 7 and Co. America's Region's loving that location. For the rest, though, military, I'm feeling it in my bones. John, I think this next zone is about to be spicy. I'm hoping I'm right, but I hope I just cast or cursed it.
It's a bones-based feeling here.
I'm feeling it.
And we're going purely off the vibe.
That's it.
That's exactly what we're here for. That's the only way to go.
You said the word.
Purely, yeah, and well, had to fill out that bingo card. Heading on out to the northwest side, I reckon. Zarky circles. That's my bones-based vibes play.
Okay, I wouldn't mind Zarky. I think Zarky's great. Again, a couple of teams that notably love to go out there. Actually, speaking of which, let's talk about it. Alpha 7 typically goes towards Zarky. Georgia Pool, Lipovka is where they decide to go this time around. And, well, we don't get either, but we do get right in the middle of what we were predicting. I'm still happy with this, and it's going to benefit quite a few other rosters. For example, E-Arena Kinotrope going to be feeling quite happy. Power, who's had a standout day, currently sitting in third place, 31 points. And, well, let's not forget also getting that Game 2 winner chicken dinner on Erangel, now set up quite nicely to potentially do just the same in game number 4. They'll be central at the moment, a bit spread out, but plenty of time to get together. For Yangon Galactica, they are going down towards military to start looting up and also, of course, get their vehicles. Now, for them, though, maybe a potential to go over to the Western Bridge, maybe a scuffle with Kinotrope, maybe R8, but still early goings, and I'm not seeing any hot drops at the moment.
No, there aren't going to be too many right now. The plane path cutting straight through the middle allows a lot of access to places. I mean, obviously, the Alpha 7 relocation to Lipovka, going to that backup drop, it really just opens things up. If they'd have stuck to their guns and tried to go to North George, there would have been a hot drop on some of those vehicles out the west side. So a reasonable adjustment there. Aura and Influence Rage, probably the closest by to one another right now, up towards Yasnaya. But it looks like they're just sort of keeping each other at arm's distance. They don't want to get too aggy with it, and I think rightly so. You certainly, when you have a numbers advantage, don't want to push too hard, and Influence Rage as well, just looking to keep things calm, especially down in that 12th place. They want to get out of this early drop into those later game rotations.
Falcons also pretty much dead center. They have nobody around them, at least at the moment. They've had a stellar day. We talked about it throughout the group stage. Falcons, bit of an underperformance, right? Needing to step it up into survival stage where their tournament lives are at risk. It would be weird, I must say, not to see Team Falcons representing in the final stages in that Smash Point competition, but they're doing very, very well. We mentioned 70 being the cutoff. They've already surpassed the halfway point. They still have a little bit more work, but let's face it, Falcons, if they can perform well in these back end of the 3 games of our 6 today, they can absolutely qualify based off of day 1.
The thing that's very encouraging about the Falcons' performance right now that maybe isn't attributed to the other teams that sit around them is that they've done this through consistency, right? They haven't won a game yet. They have just been consistently getting into the top 5, right? And that is a great result for the Falcons to be able to have that spot available to them. The downside of what I've seen from them today is that there have been good rotations, good decisions being made. Yes. The mechanical execution of them has been subpar. Specifically, I think it's safe to say Ralph has had a couple of missteps, and I think Narvalo as well, obviously going down a lot earlier in the games than they would have liked to. You can attribute that to getting a little bit too bold on the scouting, maybe less of a mechanical issue, but I do think there are still a few wobbles here and there, and hopefully they can get themselves nice and steady, because it's working right now. The question is, will it work if they go to the finals? Would you bring back those top 8 teams?
Yeah, and that's a question, right? And that's a question they're going to have to ask themselves when they do head into the finals. Obviously, the task at hand now is just top 8. And, well, speaking of one of those teams who's close to the bubble is Alpha 7 on your screen, a team that obviously is coming in with squash this time around, but regardless, the returning champions, the heroes of the Americas region who play so incredibly well. I would be, again, just like the Falcons narrative, it would be so weird not to see Alpha 7 representing themselves during the Smash Point group or finals just coming up next week. But for Alpha 7, they're still relatively healthy. I do feel like they have gotten punished at multiple moments, but for now, I'm not too worried about them. I think they're going to be just fine. Now, for other teams from the Americas region, Influence, Rage, Intense Game, I do start to get a bit worried. I don't think they are performing well. And you go back to Influence, Rage during the group play, specifically their performance during day 1 group play for them, I felt they were coming in hot. I thought they looked great. But survival stage, nothing like their group play performance.
No, I mean, it does really change the dynamic, as I mentioned before, right? When you are taking out those top 8 teams. In every single match, no matter which groups we're in, you're expecting there to be about 5, maybe 6 of those teams in the top 8 to be playing in the lobby, and removing those teams has really changed the dynamics here. And teams have taken advantage of that. And like you were highlighting there, some teams have had to eat mud on the flip side, right? Because you have to for a team to do better, another team has to do worse, right? Swings around the bounce.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Well, I will say Team Vision also another roster that surprised me being so far down. You go back to group play and they were performing incredibly well, having plenty of highlight moments. Were they in the top echelon? No, but Vision still a team that is struggling. Magnum Karya now in a fight against AXTMG and Silas, a guy who, again, is trying to create history for himself. He's already has a large history of performances and great moments throughout PUBG Mobile history. This tournament would complete the trifecta he's currently trying to get, so that's a big opening elimination for him. And for AXTMG, the struggles live on.
I think Regnum Kaya are looking weak this tournament in a way that couldn't be said, I think, for Alpha 7 or Falcons.
Sure.
They haven't really been in these positions to really take too much. They earned a couple of points on a few of the days, but obviously they're here in the survival stages, and I'm hoping that they can stand up. Like you said, with Silas having that PMGO victory, having that PMGC victory under the belt, adding that third would be the first player in history to do so. But at the moment, they need to piece it back together, especially coming off of a weak season back in Europe, right? These guys only qualified because they had that extra qualification spot from winning PMGO at the start of the year. So the fact that they're only here because of that earlier performance, it does add questions to this roster. And right now they're on 8th place. So they would, if things close down now, be going through. And I think I would be disappointed not to see them go through, but they do still have a long way to go. And when they're put back in the fold with the 8 teams already qualified, the same thing's true as what I said for the Falcons, right? There are those questions that just don't have an answer right now.
Alpha 7 in ruins, currently only team over in this location. Influence Rage skirting just to the north side for them, but getting quite contested towards the middle as we would expect. Regnum Karya being one of them. Dead center. Power as well. Haven't really done too much, but you wouldn't expect them to. They're centered. They're happy where they're currently at. For Kinotrope, well, they've got people all around them, but again, same situation. Nobody really to fight at the moment. Potentially Nogsham Red Force a little bit later, who, mind you, I've been very, very impressed with. Had a chance to speak with Benny yesterday. Super impressed with his mindset. He wants to be the best, and well, this tournament is one of the ways to prove it. Well, here we go. Going south now. It does shift just a bit, which could benefit Yangon Galacticos, who could potentially stay over on the military side if they don't want to fully commit for the bridge rotate, but it also puts them at risk of getting gate kept by R8 Nogsham Red Force. That's one of the things they're going to have to consider.
A lot of teams now looking to make their move. A hard south shift forces teams to rotate at the same time. I'm seeing Fireflux moving into the hills to the south of Pachinki there. Nongshim Red Force actually regrouping to the compound that sits over that long hillside that borders the south edge of this circle, where R8 currently take up occupation. Fireflux actually rotating away. Looks like they're going to try and push into the east side of that, and all of these teams from the north going to try and move on top of each other. It is intense game. It is Alpha 7 moving in this area. You've got Power as well, who are a little bit ahead of the curve, and Influence Rage, actually the three-peat of the Americas teams. And when you only have one good team in the region,
right,
well, you know who you want to see get out of it.
Yeah, this is going to be weird because, like you said, you got all 3 Americas region teams, ironically, just right next to each other. You would, I guess, expect that with similar play styles, kind of similar mindsets, obviously from the same region, but it seems like they kind of do this invisible handshake. You go on your way, I'll go on my way, they'll go on their way, and we'll avoid each other for the time being. But as deeper as Influence Rate starts to go, closer and closer, they start to get the power.
Fireflux did actually turn around. They're now still in those hills, but it's Gamax, it's Yangon Galacticos, who have now crossed the bridge as well on the south side of the circle, who are poking their noses in. You've also got Irina, who have sent a scout down south towards Nongshim Red Force, towards R8, but now Alpha 7 have actually cut off that retreat. On the north side, Aura, Influence Rage now clashing, trying to take position, and First Blood for Lorizit.
Influence Rage, great shot. Sleepy from a distance, though, takes little boy all the way down to just a sliver of health. He's most likely going to be finished off relatively soon. I don't foresee him getting picked back up. Of course, the med kit pops, but still, Influence Rage got to fight hard. They've, again, struggled so much throughout the survival stage so far across the first 3 maps. They need to hold their ground. Not to mention, Power also starting to come in for a bit of a third party, and No Fear is gone.
A nice little flex out there from Al-Haji. Puts the stone in, gets the result he's looking for, adds a point to the tally. Pleased to see you. Power now actually going to put more pressure on. They're moving down, and Influence Rage playing with 4. They're locked into the building. They're surrounded by E-Arena and by Power now, who have pushed Easy actually very, very close to this situation. That was a bit too bold, and I think they've read into that. They will pull him back, fold him back into the rest of the team.
E-Arena being on the outskirts scares me, however, for Influence Rage. Such a talented roster. They have really proven themselves throughout not only their second day of group play, but also throughout the survival stages already. Having some high placings. Zone will shift once again. Alpha 7 very, very safe where they currently are. Influence Rage, same story. E-Arena Power around them. Intense game, though, might alleviate some of that pressure. They start the push in. Power encompassing their location. We get on board with the fight going down. IG versus Power. It will be, I believe, will it be a 3v4, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, currently that's how it sits. Power were a little bit split, but it looks like they're regrouping. They do have that off angle just across the way. Nade in over towards Easy from Silence, and he's quietening him down pretty nicely there. Al-Haji holding the flank still against Influence Rage, but maybe he needs to worry about the inside, but handles business from Fidan. On the outskirts there, looking to try and keep his team in this fight. Silas has the challenge down the alleyway, but both of them back off the angle.
Here we go, Power pushing up. Petrino cooking a nade. Al-Haji wants to take him out before it can get thrown, but now he has to reposition himself. IG running on fumes, and Al-Haji looking to put him into the grave earlier than they wanted, and that's exactly what will happen. IG struggles will continue.
Power have been stepping up today. A little bit lackluster, well, more than a little bit lackluster in the group stages earlier on in last week's games, but today it looks like Power are here to play. They added on some cheeky chicken dinners. They've been able to now get in and amongst it. It is a return to form for them, and hopefully they can keep this going. Oh, Vision.
Just about to point out Ralph, he was separated from his roster. Falcons have been leaving players, stragglers, to be the scouts for the rest of the trio, whoever's out. First it was Redux in the last game, we were talking about him, and now this time it's Ralph, who's, well, potentially in no man's land. I say that, but here comes the rest of the roster trying to pick him back up. Getting Ralph back into the fight, being a 4-man unit, is definitely going to be the way they want to go. It's a question now of vision and how hard they want to push this engagement.
The forward duo for Falcons have a position in this next circle. Koa and Navallo looking to try and stanchion them down. Try and keep things under control here. Koa puts pressure. The res was sent over towards Ralph. He's up there in a vehicle now, and they can rotate away. Vision actually not opting to crash onto that position. Instead, trying to get ahead of the rotation and split Falcons off from their forward duo.
Now it's a question of Power, and do they want to continue to push the issue? And I guess not at the moment. Vision unintentional, though. Even though they do go up top, they still manage to pass by Falcons, and they are in hot pursuit, shooting some shots at Ralph. The early knock that they got a little bit earlier, now trying to get the finish. Influence Rage also in the area, and they're going full send. AXTMG also off in the line of sight. So this is getting a bit chaotic in the open field, and as they are pretty much dead center of the zone, everybody's going to be collapsing in. And now Jiggle from Aura. Regis, you got Silas also up there. Vision Bolt is pushing in, trying to take everybody on, and he's going to fall a bit flat.
Vision do a mad rotate through everybody in the circle into the middle of an open field. It was a death ball that they just sent in, hoping to all hell that they'd make it, and they just really didn't. It was honestly a pretty terrible position there for Vision to take.
100%.
I think that is probably coming off of, from the Falcons, what was potentially one of the most exciting, fresh, new, dynamic rotations in the tournament so far, into what I think I would categorize as the worst rotation I've seen this tournament.
Fully agree, and especially because you get a fresh knock on the Falcons and you don't even fully commit for the finish. You have the man advantage in that moment, and then you decide to pull away, allow Falcons to get the res, and then full send it in the middle of 5 teams? Nah, that just doesn't make sense, and well, clearly they are struggling today as They just sit at the very bottom with only 2 points. Hopefully, they'll start to get it together. A lot of teams on the north, stragglers, trying to come on in. Kinetro, Power. You also have Influence Rage as well. It's going to be pretty tight up towards the northern side of the zone. The first team to get in might be able to play Gatekeeper, but for the time being, everybody's got a lot of space to work with, but that's the thing. There's just a lot of space out in the open, vast area, which is the zone.
Yeah, that hillside to the south edge, that tree-covered hill ridge that currently R8 sits on, that Fireflux is sitting on as well, it can contain maybe one more team, but it's going to start to get squashed. Alpha 7 going to be looking to do just that. Meanwhile, on the northwest side, Influence Rage, they're trying to move, but so are Power. And Power are on form today. With 5 elims already, they found Lorazin. AXTMG going to look for that flush as well. And the third parties coming through from Falcons, who have managed to all get to the same shack out in the open field.
That's it, same shack, so they're going to be all together. They can focus fire, but they are being gate kept just a little bit by Noxium Red Force way off in the distance at the compound. So Power need to, or should be Falcons need to be a little bit careful. For Power's perspective, though, the reason why they were so successful in that little scuffle they had with Influence Rage has spread themselves apart with the 2-2 split. Power are moving together as one unit. They are wolf packing, making it very difficult for any stragglers or any split ups, like for example Influence Rage, or maybe even Kinetruck for a moment, to fight against this 4-man unit of Power. And I think I owe their success to, again, them being on the same page, sticking together. It's hard to take on a full force unit, but teams now start to settle down a little bit. Kinetruck is going to go ahead and take over the west, or should be eastern side zone. Power will start to move in. AXTMG still running on fumes, but Henry may be looking to make a solo play against Power once they rotate in. We'll see what he can do.
Has got a forward position to assist with him in Cyrax, but they are very, very split, and in the open fields, it is going to be a difficult crossing. Power moving past Fidan, actually moving close towards that forward position, maybe actually over into Influence Rage. Fidan circling here. Easy's going to roll straight on up. Al-Haji sending in a barrel, sent down the lane towards Influence Rage, and Easy goes in first, does manage to get traded off, but they lose one of their players. Now, can they handle Lil Boy on the inside? Al-Haji take it down, and Influence Rage maybe trying to stop Power dead in their tracks. Fidan on the outside here with the AUG, hasn't managed to find it, and Lil Boy goes for the res.
Lil Boy's going for the res. Lil Boy now out. He knows he has to leave this. There's too much utility to use. And the juke, the bait and switch to take down the remainder of Power to stay alive. The Falcons are now starting to move in, and I fear this might be the ending of Lil Boy. But the medkit is popped. He's back up, but the nades are rolling in, and Falcons are starting to close the vice grip. But Lil Boy stands on his own 2 feet for a little bit longer to get one more final knock.
Ralph needs to get rezzed here on the inside. They've got a couple of vehicles to play with, but this is not going to be enough of a position. A massive flex back out from the Falcons. They are getting spicy with it. Alpha 7 in the meantime marauding around and sweeping through the western side. They might try and push in and capitalize on this chaos.
Squash taking a lot of damage. Arena moving in. Squash ready for this. However, Alpha 7 starts to crumble. Mormon gets to clean up on Revo. And, well, the rest of the Alpha 7 roster now in shambles. Only one remaining. It's Mafioso. He chose to stay back just a little bit. And, well, he's going to have to go at it alone as a solo for anything, right? Going for placement points. Maybe potentially trying to get the remaining cleanups. I mean, after all, E-Arena does have 2 down players.
Falcons got really keen to push up towards that north side, but it means that they've got 3 players in position to potentially pick up these points towards E-Arena. You can see these nades are starting to ring on out, and it's actually from R8 who are able to close down Alpha 7 here. But E-Arena suffering as they try and go for that cross, that northern flex out. The Falcons were all held down towards that number 3 on the minimap there on Narvalo, but now with that flex out, they have those off angles. They now need to rotate back on in. You can see the vehicles they got available to them though, and they should be able to make this crossing.
Yeah, E-Arena will maybe split the difference between them. Narvalo might be able to put additional pressure with that split. Noxious Red Force still dead center, by the way. They're going to play a big impact as we get later and later into the stages. R8, a team that, just like others, have been struggling quite a bit. Opposite of another team that is relatively low in the standing. Shangon Galactica, Saycloud Smile just up ahead. Mormon starting to roll in from E-Arena. I would be very, very impressed if Mormon can even pick up one. But with this off angle on R8, I don't know. I'm thinking he can at least start to hurt R8 a little bit, which could open up the door for Young Galacticas to potentially get a clean win here.
That's what they'll be looking for here. Gamax trying to push in on the southeast side in the meantime as Fireflux try and hold their own. So far, looks to be in the favor of Fireflux, but Regnum Kaya are chiming in across the way from the north side, pulling them now down to 3 confirmed. Gamax playing with just the 1. It may not be enough to take down Fireflux, but damage has been done, and that's going to slow them down. Talking about those holds out to the west side towards Yangon Galacticos, it really does entrench them in this position a little bit longer.
Fireflux being alive a little bit longer, start to push up towards Yangon Galactica. Strax is, well, in the thick of it. Smoke out, nades starting to move in. Falcons keeping the pressure up. Just such a sensational day from Team Falcons. Just on the edge of taking over first place. AXTMG are now gone. And Falcons have been hugely aggressive. And man, from one team to another, they now push up onto Kinotrup. The question is, do they know they're sitting in the weeds?
They have managed to spot that first knock, right? So they know that there is a team there sort of trying to navigate the northern side with a hard north shift. It would be a very viable team to try and take out, but Falcons overcommitting here would expose them to Nongshim Red Force, who have been in this compound since the start of Phase 2, almost Phase 1 in fact. They have been chilling here in big ways, right? One Elim, very quiet, difficult to leave if they had to rotate away, but they have control over so much of this open ground now.
Without a doubt, and not to mention playing Gatekeeper to Fireflux, playing Gatekeeper to Yangon Galacticus, who's going to have to move into them potentially. So I expect them to be at 5 eliminations relatively soon if they can do everything right. They're already in a very healthy spot, just 4 points away from taking over first place. R8 has been tempting this fight opposite of Falcons for quite some time. They managed to stay up. They, of course, only have 3 members, but you can do a lot of damage with 3. But you mentioned Nongshim Red Force playing the Gatekeepers, and well, Damar's going straight into him.
Just going straight on through. Trying to see if he can keep an edge, and it looks like they're going to let him play on this wall for now, but the Falcons might have something to say about that. Damar may be exposed. The rest of RA actually going to continue that push. He knows he's getting unchallenged, so they've got that western building under control. An interesting decision for Nongshim Red Force not to hold them out. They're going to give the western side of the compound to R8.
Compound so critical to keep in play, especially if you get blessed by the next zone, which could very well happen. Now, you do have to consider another fight, obviously, right before your eyes. Fireflux as well as Yangon Galactica says they might cannibalize each other. As soon as that happens, now they move into Noxious Red Force in the R8 fight. So it's going to be one fight to another, and now you have to prioritize which one is more important for you to take the third party or go head-to-head. For Fireflux, they can, in fact, wrap around the eastern side and maybe take over where the crate is currently at. Or they can decide to push. Right now, they're just kind of just seeing what's out there. But with the hovercraft, I think Yangon Galacticus need to take advantage of that. For me, I'm wrapping around. I don't want to full send it. I don't want this third party, but maybe they do.
I mean, it's already smoking. It's really dangerous to be heading on in like that. But Yangon Galacticos full crash onto the northern point, and Nongshim Red Force look to hold. A meat grinder found through the window, but Yangon Galacticos somehow avoid the spinning blades that Nongshim Red Force will send out towards them. Smile is hunting them down, and that's 3 players already falling. Romeo the only casualty. R8 looking at third party, but not really finding too much. It's over almost before it started. And Fireflux are now in on the east side.
But Doc also hits a great shot onto Solus from Fireflux through the window, and now he can capitalize with the nade. You have